again. Okay, and I think we are live.
We are live.
Perfect.
Look at that. Very classy.
Look at that. Whoa, look at this. Isn't this cool? Hello, everybody. How's it going, folks? We've got a whole crew here tonight. This is a very special episode.
Everybody on deck.
You tempted us with making tier lists.
Yes.
That's we got sucked in.
The premiere,
we got sucked into your bullshit
video format.
Yes, algorithm.
Yeah.
Yes.
We gotta
the algorithm will love us now.
Yeah, the Honkai algorithm. This is how you do it.
And it is going to be the definitive tier list.
Do you want to enter the
As so long as we use my version, that's correct.
About that. As long as yours agrees with me, then we're good.
Oh, I'm coming ready to fight. I'm coming ready to fight.
So who do we have on deck tonight?
Yeah, who are you guys?
Well, no one's ever heard me before. Hey, everyone, it's Nal. Good to be back. Happy to talk Star Rail. Although, I'll just give a quick plug that I'm really excited about the upcoming 4.0 in Genshin as well. It got me re-hyped on the game, which is cool. Excited to talk Star Rail today.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Cel.
That is Cel of Tonberry Troupe fame for all the Defo players here.
What's that? I'm part of Himeko Hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Himeko Hub here for Honkai.
HimekoHub.com.
He's finally alive.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Cel is also the one who produced the character cards that are currently shown on the top left portion of my screen here.
Oh, very
nice. I did those.
Yeah,
what do those represent, by the way?
So
Do you want to enter
they will be the team, either the upcoming team or the team previously used while I'm doing Memory of Chaos. So it won't be the team that's active because you're seeing who's on the screen. But just like if I'm in the second wave, you'll be like, oh, who did you use for the first wave? And it's right there. And vice versa if I'm doing the first wave and you're wondering who the second wave is. So
this is all very classy. This feels like punching above the weight class of what I'm accustomed to here. Like I'm wondering when you guys are gonna be like, well, now you no longer fit in.
No. So Cel has actually sent this over to me since like the very beginning, and I just always forgot to implement it into the actual scene. So now it's here.
Now that I'm here, they need the class.
Yeah, I did forget to mention because I did this obviously last minute. I forgot to ask Cel for Luocha, who wasn't in the first initial batch, but he's being visually replaced by Lu. Because it's a 5-star healer. It's good enough.
That is
basically the same, right?
Yeah.
And my God.
And then
I don't think Lion's okay with that substitution.
It's already begun.
And I'm substituting Tingyun for Asta. So when you see Asta, that should be Tingyun. But
if you were playing right, it should be Asta. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay, I wouldn't quite say that. So. What did you guys want to start off with? Did you want to start off with the tier list? Did you want to start off with 1.1 impressions or how?
Well, I literally just got the in-game survey and just gave some feedback on 1.1. So I'd be happy to start there, but then I'm happy to take everyone to school with my tier list. The tier list.
I think we should leave the tier list for last.
Okay. I agree.
The viewer retention.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is you guys know me on the West Coast. I will have to go handle dinner.
That's true.
You guys are gonna find out my year of birth. Oh no. Okay.
Oh, nice. Here we go.
Oh, he's taking the survey.
Yeah.
Let's judge.
Well, if we're gonna do it, we might as well.
That's a lot of scrolling to get to the year of birth. Some of us have to pick the catch-all category, so you guys can all fuck right off.
Okay, so.
Actually, I don't in this game. They changed it in Genshin, but I'm doing the catch-all in Genshin, but it hasn't been changed here, so I still get my own year technically.
How readable is this actually? This is not very.
It is not. Right? It is not readable.
Not very.
Okay, let me juice that up a little bit more. Old?
Hey,
What do you
Cotton
mean,
Wami.
Romy? I am not old.
They're kind of old.
Oh,
That
good
year,
Lord.
Kwame.
If you're old, I don't know what that means for me, but it can't bode.
Congrats on almost 30, by the way.
Yeah, almost there.
Is it? Is that really? This is what we're doing now? God
No,
damn
no,
it!
no, that's okay. There. Okay, I've blown it up. It'll take a little bit of time for the stream to catch up, but I think this
Almost.
will be legible now.
It is.
Almost 30. Wow.
If anything, we
Bunch
can
of
let the
children on
survey-
this show.
I'm probably older than like 90% of the cast in this game, if we're being honest.
Oh.
I don't, I think that
Natasha-
says it enough.
Natasha's getting on.
I feel like this is why my brother's wife brought me the Welt phone case. I think it was a subtle nod to my age. Like you're the old guy, like Mr. Yang.
I really like his phone case.
It's actually really sweet, and I totally wish that it fit my phone. It's so unfortunate, and I'm blaming my brother completely
It
for
just
the
means
mistake.
you need a new phone, right? Just
I do not want an iPhone Max. It's way too big.
No. That's not true, Wami. Luca is not a child. He's like in his mid-20s.
Oh, here we go. All right.
Okay.
You don't know.
So, character satisfaction. What did you guys put for Silverwolf? How satisfied were you with Silverwolf's kit?
I was very satisfied.
Especially compared to all the hubbub about her pre-release.
Yeah, this
And
is the
worries.
overall. I absolutely love Silverwolf. Like
Fun.
kit design is fantastic, fun to play, and she's hilarious. And I actually I love the way they did the fourth wall breaks with her. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of breaks, I like her technique where she just goes in, like shoots the laser and breaks everyone on the first turn, and Himiko can follow up and kill everyone.
I actually,
Yeah.
The
I
ultimate
would appreciate
synergy.
that too if I had Himiko, but that's another problem.
It's okay. You can experience the best form of having Himiko by using Cel's friend Himiko. That way you don't
There you
actually
go.
have to build her, but you can use her for farming. Which
No
is,
investment required. Yeah, definitely very satisfied with Silver.
yeah, I think especially compared to right up until pre-release, there was a lot of
Hype.
hype, but like hype and also like a pushback on the hype surrounding her, given like the way her imperil work. I'm using default terms, but like her implanted weakness works. People weren't sure if it would scale based off the number of allies in your team.
What bothered me about this was less the hype and more people not being honest when they were speculating. Right? There was an enormous amount of speculation about the way the mechanics would work, and everyone acted like their version of the speculation was the definitive answer of how it was going to work, and that was a pain in the ass, honestly. That I was really unhappy with. I'm happy with the way it ended up working, but I'm not sure that anyone that I saw actually had it right with their speculation. But none of them admitted to that, of course.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes me like Silverwolf probably more than I initially thought I would. I guess it's like sort of in two parts. One is the event light cone, which is
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
strong.
Yes.
It's so much energy back on just having defense weakness, which the way Silverwolf's kit work and the way her ultimate works is a lot.
And I love that light cone ends up really being her best in slot unless you're going to hyper invest in silver, right? Like if you're going to hyper invest, then you want her signature. But if you're going for E0, her 4-star event cone is the best thing going for her. I love that. I think that's just one of those like big check marks of good design and good setups for the players. I really appreciated it.
And then the other thing is like obviously the implant is very good and it makes teams work better in situations that you wouldn't think so. But the defense down on her ultimate is so like potent in how much extra damage you get out of your team. I think that was something that hadn't really been brought to the forefront.
It is really strong, and as somebody who does a lot of hybrid break playing, yeah, that defense down is huge for break damage as well. So it's fantastic.
Yeah. Like, obviously, this Memory of Chaos blessing favors having debuffs, but without Silverwolf, specifically her debuff, I would not have been able to make the progress that I ended up making. So she was definitely one of the reasons why I was able to push as far as I was able to.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was much more satisfied with Silverwolf than I thought I would be, which I think is always the case that you want. You definitely don't want to be too hyped up and then have a negative sort of reaction to it, like I kind of have with Baiju in Genshin. Just like a slight, like he feels a little bit underwhelming, but Silverwolf not the case here.
Oh, here he comes! Here he comes with his trench coat conversation.
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say about Silverwolf, or?
No, I think we covered her.
I cannot speak to using her as a character. She's in my backlog of people I need to build. It'll probably be right after Sushong. But I am very much enjoying her light cone. Not that anyone asked. On Welt.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good use for it.
Yes, it
Like
is.
that energy.
Does Welch inflict defense down? I don't remember.
He does not.
So he needs an external source of defense down to proc it.
Yep.
Hang on. Sorry, I just got a disturbing text message from my mom.
No.
Oh no.
I'm gonna hope it's disturbing in a sort of silly way and not a genuinely disturbing way.
How's it going?
Shall we move?
RBK?
Should we move on to
Luocha.
Lord? So, all right, fun story. My brother got married this weekend.
Woo! Congratulations.
Congrats.
Married a girl from China. Awesome girl,
Oh,
very
no.
cool. And she has been helping me with my pronunciation of these
Oh.
characters, and really she was very heavily on the locha, and the
Locha.
cha is not an English like hard ch, it's like a ta, so locha.
Lotsa.
I'm really bad at it still, but I'm trying for her sake.
I will get to it later, but I know Yukong is Yuko. I know that.
Yeah.
I watched the one YouTube video that went around everywhere. So
Yeah.
I learned
Yeah.
that one.
So my brother's wife keeps trying to teach me, and I learned that some of the characters do have different names in China. Like there are completely different names for some of the characters in China.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
But I will jump into this one on Lota.
Okay.
Very satisfied. I was probably the most hyped person for this character, and low key, like I think he's the best character in the game currently.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting.
I would. I think I would have to agree.
He is
With a
so
caveat.
hilariously strong. It's kind of unbelievable.
Ching is Kokusei in
Kokusei.
Okay, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense that they wouldn't just have the English names in other languages. Although it's interesting that Kaching gets a... Is that her name in the Chinese version as well? We don't have to get into that. It's a different game, but I'm just curious. That's an interesting thing. Like, would it be localized differently for Japanese and Chinese audiences? Yeah, I would agree. I think Luocha is probably the best, definitely the best healer in the game.
Oh, 100% best healer. No question.
Which I think is to be expected, given that he's the first premium 5-star unit.
Yes.
So I don't think that's very surprising. I think he has, I think he excels the most in teams that have any form of off-turn damage, which is why I think Luocha with Clara is in a league above him with anyone else. Unless there's another unit that I'm forgetting who's able to do damage
Not out
in the
right
off
now.
turn. Yeah, not okay.
He works very well with quite a few. I think Clara is the most obvious example, but there are definitely quite a few others that, like Zila and Sushang, are both able to do multiple attacks in a row, and that really leans into his strength as well.
Yeah,
I'll go into it when we get to the tier list, but I am putting my stake in the ground. I think he's the strongest unit in the game in terms of enabling clears in MOC.
Yeah. Oh, March. Okay. So I guess I don't know if anyone here has used him plus March, but in the situation that he is using, that like March 7th shield is up, and an enemy hits it so that she procs her counter. Does her counter trigger the heal? I assume it would because Clara's does.
Yeah,
it does.
Okay,
It does.
so then I forgot to turn this off. As a substitute character then for Clara, I think March 7th would also fulfill that role. Like I just think the capability, because it solves his biggest issue, which is I don't have we took a big AoE and I have no form of healing. I have no panic button when it's Kafka's second turn and you haven't been able to get a heal in. But if you have a Clara or a March who procs their counter hit based off the AoE and can provide that extra healing in between the two hits, I think that's the reason why I personally think running him with a counter unit is just a step above him with anyone else. Not saying that he's bad without a counter unit, but just I think that puts him even in a better situation.
Yep. Totally fair.
Makes sense.
Also, this Memory of Chaos is, again, obviously, but extremely favorable towards Luocha. You have the Mara Strucken Knights who will revive themselves, and the General who heals whenever his Mara Strucken Knights are up. Or you just completely ignore the entire mechanic of that encounter with just one Luocha ultimate. So it's a completely different game.
He packs so much into his kit, and the really cool thing about him is he also has great Eidolon design. And I haven't pulled for any of them. I may yet, but it's all kit extension in his Eidolon design, and he's already got this loaded kit, and it's like each one of them adds a new thing to his kit, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think in terms of like pull value, I definitely agree. I think in terms of character design, I don't think I like it too much because it makes it so that like you're adding new functionality to the character as opposed to just adding on top of the existing one. So in that sense, it's like it's a little bit too much of like and not that parts are taken away from the kit, like he's completely functional at E0, but it does feel like you're getting a lot more than you would in most other characters' constellations, where it's just like a little bit more splash damage, or you get more stat, like more raw.
Yeah, but
stat.
I think that's what I like about it, right? Is that, and here's the thing: if he didn't feel complete at E0, I would not like it. If it felt like, oh, they're leaning on me to pull for Eidolons, but it just keeps adding to his kit, and I think it's a cool way to go about it.
Yeah.
All right, should we move to Yukong?
Cel or Lion, did you have anything else you guys wanted to?
I don't have them.
Oh, rip.
Yeah, so I can't really say much.
I'm sorry for your loss, Cel.
I think Lion is not back yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll pull him right now.
I am. I think that Luocha is. I agree with the sentiment that he is easily the best healer in the game. I'm using him in the Stellar Flare thing as we're talking. He is dummy strong. Oh my god! I appreciate that his Eidolons do add a lot more to his already incredibly overloaded kit. You know, the extra damage and shields and stuff like that. The only part that seems a little kind of iffy is his second one, where he adds the shield, which is going to hurt his ability to work super well with a couple of other characters, based on what we know from like the closed beta and stuff like that, and some of the existing ones as well, I think. But other than that, oh my god, he's amazing.
All right, I pulled a 5-star.
Did you get it?
Did you get
I don't
it?
know. I'm waiting for the animation.
Is it another Himiko, or worse, another Himicone?
Hemicone.
I'm assuming that you're pulling on the featured banner, in which case it will not be a.
I mean,
I got a well.
You got a well.
Hey, we
Well,
take
I mean,
well.
it's a imaginary character.
It was an imaginary
it's
character.
Close.
Welt is absolutely cracked. But that's
Did you
a
have
whole
Welt
other thing.
before?
I did.
Oh.
Oh, is that E1, E2?
It is E1.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Blair.
E2 plus like code.
He made everything better.
Yeah, he would do that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. Clara plus Huocha is.
Our Clara is his best friend, and I'm so happy because I have E1 Clara, and I love Clara's
I have a lot
playstyle.
of
Nice.
Claras, so
I'm
glad they were.
I'm so excited to. Clara's been on the shelf for a little bit for me, just because, as much as I enjoy her, like she has some caveats, but he eliminates those, which is just awesome.
I took her off the shelf for this, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Are we good to move on to Yukon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say on you. I don't know
Also
what her
have nothing
kit
to say.
does. I've never used her. I never looked into her.
All right. So high.
I'm neutral.
I'll give you my high level. She's next on my list to build up. I put Satisfied for Yukon. And the reason I put Satisfied is this. She's really strong and really fickle. Very much like Lota, she works incredibly well with Clara because of the way the turns on her buffs work. The problem with her is that it's that fickle kit design that when it works well, it works amazingly well, and when it doesn't work, it feels almost wasteful. And so that's kind of where I am with her, is like, you got to really want to make her work to make her work. You are currently still pretty zoomed in from looking at the survey. So
I was
just
thinking,
so you know,
this is probably a better visual, and then we'll just go back to the surveys like the guideposts. But I think this makes sense. This makes more sense visually. Okay, this is better. Okay. Oh yeah, the thing I don't like about this game compared to Genshin is the trace and talents all being in one location. It makes it very messy. There's no just like clean way to check out what all their abilities are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Like in Genshin, you go to the talent screen and there's just the 3 buttons. It's like there, and here there's like all this.
So
crap
if you go to
turning
the very first screen where it says details,
The top one.
yeah. So go back 1. Yeah, and then go to details, and then ability.
Oh, see where you went back. No, yeah, details tab.
There we go. I'm there.
But you're not there. What?
Ability. I'm
Okay,
It's
I'm
on now.
watching the stream.
There's a
Okay.
stream delay. Yeah.
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 And then you can
It's-
click on them specifically.
it is a more concise view.
It's buried.
In any event, I'm curious if other people have thoughts on her. I feel like she's really good, but you really have to work to make her.
I don't have much of an opinion. I still don't even have a Yukong. But I think based on what the little bits of reading and some videos and things that I've watched, my impression is that she's a what do you call it? A high ceiling character.
High ceiling, low floor.
Yes, where if you're playing her properly, she enables a lot for your allies. I think it's like an 80% attack buff, and it's like 28% crit rate, I think, and something like 60% crit damage at talent level 10, which is very, very, very high. But it's restricted by the whole bowstring mechanic, which is going to require you to, kind of either tweak her speed or someone on your teams. You're gonna have to pay a lot more attention to things that you wouldn't necessarily have to look at with other characters to make sure that she's actually benefiting the right people on your team. Which, if that's not something that you're doing or not interested in or whatever, maybe she's not the character for you.
Yeah.
But I think it's good that we have a support that works like that. So it's not just plug and play. It adds a little bit more like skill expression to the game.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's a really good way to put it. She will reward you if you're willing to develop a skill to play her. You will get the rewards for it.
Yeah, and I guess in theory you could also, because I think the way her skill works is she puts up a buff, and then the character who acts immediately after her gets the buff. Like, she doesn't apply it, right?
She does. It's for 2 turns. So she sets up a buff, and it's based on any character turn will cause the buff to tick down,
including her own?
You can,
like, does she use it, or
no? Well, no, not when she has used it. There's some weirdness there just around her technique. Like, if you use her technique and then she's one of the first 2 to attack, it will count down. But her ability that sets up the buff will not tick the buff down. So you get 2 turns of it afterwards. The other thing is that ultimates don't tick it down. So one of the things you can do is stack your ultimates, use her skill, use her ultimate, which makes her buff even stronger.
Yeah, I see. It's adding
and
crit rate and crit damage. So.
Correct, and it will have been buffed by the skill. And then you can use everyone's ultimates after that, any of your damage dealing ultimates, and they will get that buff, and they don't count as turns.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, let's say you have one big damage dealer. Let's say you're running like Cel, and you have, I don't know. I'm just gonna make a team of Cel, Yukong, and Gepard, and then you need a 4th slot. You could run, let's say, Bronya. I'm just thinking out loud. I've never used her, but if your turn order isn't right, you could use Bronya to pull up Yukong, and then use Yukong's ability to get the buff onto Cel. Like could Bronya's turn manipulation kind of fix the issue of?
You would
be
giving
very skill intensive.
It's not even just that. It's that you'd be giving up the value of Bronya's buffs to use Yukong's buffs, which is like, that just doesn't seem worth it to me. Like, now I'm taking 2 units to provide the value of one of them. I think ultimately it comes down to speed tuning.
Yeah, so
it's not
worth
that
it.
difficult.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to get her right. Like, I'm a big proponent of the aim for her speed to be 1 speed slower than the slowest member of your team, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah. Hello, Raw and Cereal. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Can I put her in a
guys?
bikini? I don't.
Oh.
She's basically in a bikini
here we
already.
go.
Okay, come on. Like, she's
we
not
go.
wearing a lot here.
It's always where it goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know what they're doing when they design these characters, right? So,
yeah, they asked later in the survey about her design, and that was the thing I gave her the lowest points on. I feel like she's just too much of a clone of Ting Yun.
yeah, I mean, you've seen one Fox Girl, you've seen them all.
I mean,
Damn.
she's better Ting Yun.
She's practically a palette swap. Come
No,
on.
I rather dislike her design if we're comparing to Tingyun.
I like her color palette better than Tingyun's.
Practically a palette
Hello,
swap.
Yoshi.
Like, get rid of the ears and the tail,
I'm
and
letting everyone know my date of birth a
Yukong
lot.
is definitely the winner
Again.
over Tingyun.
We should give a quick shout out to Yoshi here for the poll. Pulling a Lota and a Branya in a single 10 pull.
Holy
That is
shit, that's an
a
incredible.
Wow.
that is a big win right there. That's as I like to say, that's a big W.
Yup.
Artwork, voiceover, tech.
See, now this is where you get into the detailed parts of the survey. I'm not sure the
I'm
survey
just
is
gonna rush through them.
gonna help us here.
Technique. What does that mean? Like their overworld ability?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the type.
I guess it's fine. I don't know.
You guess it's fine. It's got to be one of the
Cool.
best in the game.
Character art is cool. Voiceover
Is
is
it?
cool. Common experience is good. Good. This is good.
Silverwolf's ability to effectively break any unit before combat starts is pretty insane.
Other.
And it's quantum break.
Why
Yep.
won't it let me type?
I should probably change my answer for the character voiceover for Japanese.
Neutral.
It's fine, but the English one does hit a little different.
Hey, here's a thought. Switch to the English voices. Then you can understand what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's only for Silverwolf. The Japanese ones are better beyond that. Sampo is terrible in English.
Wow, hater.
No offense to the voice actor.
Stampo is exactly what you expect
Yeah,
him to be
exactly.
in English, right? Like
like
he's
the
he's a
perfect
used car
voice.
salesman. It's exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, but when you the JP one hits different. It really does.
Yes, not being able to understand a word anyone says.
Oh
usually
my
hits
god,
different.
this guy.
No, listen, you can't.
This
argue with
guy.
The signature light cones.
Silverwolf's is cracked. Locha's it's fine, I guess.
Well, I mean,
I was
that's
very happy
insane.
with
It's
Locha's,
not
but
good.
again, maybe I am a little biased there.
Like, it's fine. I feel like you could probably do just as well, or maybe better, with some of the other light cones, like Quid Pro Quo or Post-Op Healing
I have them on
or Post-Op
control.
Conversation. Some of the other ones, the ones that give you like energy for your teammates and stuff like that.
On the flip side, he really loves to get energy to make sure. See, going back to the comment that Treevoid was making earlier, one of the things you want to make sure of with Locha is that you have quick access to get his field back up, and making sure that he's got the right energy to keep his ultimate up is definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
always want that ultimate up.
You don't always necessarily want to be using it though.
No, you don't, but you want to
which
have
is
it available.
Small L. Very small.
Damn,
It's like a
call him out,
lowercase L.
Wami. Yeah, that's right. So event-wise, what did you guys think of the events for the Star Hunt? That's finding the graffiti, and
It was fine.
I
It
think
was
the
you know,
story part of it was decent, and then the
Right.
after story part, when you're just finding graffiti, it was like okay.
yeah, it was thematic.
I did
it was
participate
in this
thematic.
event.
Oh, this is participate. Okay, well,
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
participation.
okay. God, so much filler in the survey.
It will ask you more details.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah,
to
it'll ask you more.
participate.
The museum. Okay, lots of people did not like the museum. I love the museum.
I am conflicted about the museum. The actual management portion of it is fine, but when you have to stop in the middle of it to go talk to somebody else in the hall and then go turn a couple of things to fix an artifact, and then you got to go place it, and then you can come back, and then you run it for another day, and then you got to go on a mission to go find some random piece of crap somewhere. That the obtaining new what do they call them, curiosities or whatever, that was very bad. I enjoyed the portions where like you have new like the different characters that you can get in and you can interview them and all of that. That was very enjoyable. Especially I did the Sela one last night. I thought I had already finished everything in here, and I hadn't. And that one was A+. It was very, very entertaining.
Yeah, I think I love this event. I think I'm biased because it ends with Sempo.
Wow.
I can respect that.
That's wear it on the sleeve.
I think-
Sempo was really good at this.
Yeah, I know. What did you guys decide to do at the end? I don't know if you remember.
I
but there was
genuinely
decision.
don't remember.
It's
what
do
I
you
did.
turn him in or do you let him go?
Yeah.
I think I ended up letting him go. I have a soft spot for Sampo.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's comic relief. It reminds me a
For
bit
now.
of Bruce Campbell. Like if you needed to cast Sampo in a movie, you'd probably
my
pick
God.
Bruce Campbell, and I think it would be amazing.
If they had cast Sempo as Bruce Campbell, yes, please.
Yeah, I'll +1 everything Lion said. I think his take on the event is basically identical to me.
Yeah. So
Except
I liked it.
I will not give the Zila interview top marks.
That's
only
really entertaining.
only because it feeds the bullshit. It feeds
No.
the absolute bullshit. And I would like to find content on this game that's real and interesting and not har Sela loves Branya.
No. Okay, hear me out.
Yeah, I agree, Yoshi. He is too.
The reason why I liked it so much was obviously the implications of that whole thing are there, but it's literally two people, one of which is supposed to be like the new ruler of this, I don't want to say planet, but whatever, and like her bodyguard / assassin or whatever it is that Sela does. They're just standing there staring at each other, and they're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Interview's over. This
I'll
is
give it to
fine.
you. You know what? The in-game content was actually fine. It's the obnoxiousness of so many people in the community and the
Yes.
bullshit of shipping those two that
I
was
liked-
just like it just ruined the whole thing for me. I'm like, really? Do we need more of this nonsense?
I
Come
liked that I could play a prank on Sela and put her last name as no last name, and that Bronya thought that was serious and an actual underworld last name, even after being told that it was a prank.
Now this is interesting. Treevoid appears to be giving low marks to the lab assistants event.
What's
It's
wrong with the
not
lab
an-
assistants?
it's
And
not
here's
an
the
Free
thing.
event.
stuff.
It's not
Here's-
an event.
But here's the thing. I don't want them to not do that stuff.
No,
I
don't
want them
to
I
not
want them
do
to
that.
put things in the game where they basically just give me rewards
No,
on a daily
I
basis.
strongly disagree. I would rather take a Genshin gear puzzle or a like stage play sliding the cards thing or anything over this. This was not an event. This was we're going to spoon.
It's not an
drip
event.
feed you a paltry amount of resources over like 8 days. And
It's
we're
not
gonna
an event.
label it an event.
They did the same thing in Genshin.
They do. They
With,
have that
what's his
traveling
name?
merchant.
Lieben?
Yes, the Lieben
Got
event.
It's the exact
boxes.
same thing.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
and those
Like,
aren't events either, and I don't. like
I'm
them.
fine. I'm fine with them doing it. I'm not fine with them saying that's an event. There's no
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, why
There's
is this?
nothing
Why
going
is this
on.
in the event section?
Like
This
that?
is
Like
nothing
you compare
happened.
it. Yeah, you compare it to everything else, and it's just not an event.
Well, you can find out how Void Ranger Tramplers taste with ketchup, or whatever goofy ass thing.
Oh,
Like-
did you read the stuff? I didn't
Yes.
even read the stuff.
They're basically
being honest.
they're conducting experiments on the different monsters and stuff that you can find. Like one of them was, can you what is it? The guy that's on fire? It's like the fire version of the
Then
guy
why
that's
are you
on screen
playing
right
the
now.
game, Wami? What do you mean you don't?
It's a test of can you use it to cook rice with. Like the tests that they're performing are really, really goofy. So I enjoyed just reading them, seeing the weird things that people came up with.
Yeah,
But this is not an event. I
can't.
would agree.
No, it's not an
This
event.
doesn't
But I
have
like
to
if
be
you-
stuff.
If you want to rate it low because your take is it's not an event, I support that.
Planar fit, yeah, obviously it's the best. We always want
Well-
double rewards.
Double rewards.
that's
Please always give me
event
double
dinner.
rewards.
By your definition, that's not an event.
Yeah. This is a meaningful reward though.
But it's not an event.
What is your overall experience? I was satisfied doing the planar fissure.
But that's not an event. You're just doing something you would already do.
Experience. No, it's actually not something I would do because I have been capped on those tokens for a
You
very long
never
time.
do simulated
No,
universe.
I don't do simulated universe anymore.
You
Oh.
never do your weekly simulated universe.
I do the two
For the-
runs, but that's it.
Okay, this is the same thing.
No, this is a lot. This was doing 2 runs every day for like 5 days.
No, it's doing half of a run per day for 5 days.
Okay, that's more. That's much more. I did much more simulated universe while this was running than when it's not. When it's not running, I do my 2 and I don't touch it.
But it isn't its own event.
I disagree. It's an event.
I mean, that's like saying that the what do they call it in Genshin?
The ley line, yeah, the ley line reward.
Yeah, that's not an event.
No, but it's something I want, so I like it.
But you don't like the other thing.
We can't.
even though
We
it's the exact
can't. We
same.
can't drag
You see
him
what
for
I'm
how
saying?
he's answer your own survey. We're dragging him for
Or-
how he's answering the survey.
It's,
I'm
it's-
as
I
guilty
want,
of it as
I
everyone.
want more of this and less of the other. That's what I'm saying.
That's
it's-
fair.
I'm just saying it's inconsistent.
I want more of X and less of Y. That's it. That's all I want.
Mhm.
Stellar Flare. What did people think of Stellar Flare?
I always appreciate events that give us trials of characters. And so I was a big fan of this, even though the combat was extremely easy in these. I'm always a fan of getting a chance to mess around with characters that maybe I don't have yet. Like I really enjoyed using Arlen. Got to experience his kit. Decided, ooh, it'd be nice to build Arlen if I ever do pick him up.
Eventually. one day.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the greatest interactive combat, but I really appreciate the ability to experiment with some units that I may not have or I may not have built.
I wish this was harder.
There is the hard challenge.
It's not very hard.
The hard challenge is easy, except basically the last wave. Like
Yeah.
wave 9 it's
you-
the typical
have you
can you
cleared-
do it in time?
Yeah.
But the
well,
problem
that's
is
how- that's
that
how
you only
the-
have to finish
the
wave
system.
6.
Yeah, I think that's better. I think that's
Yeah,
better.
no,
that
that's
they
fine.
give you the extra headroom where there's no reward for it. It's
Yeah.
just okay. Now can you?
Yeah,
push
I
harder?
actually, for what it's worth, I really appreciate that. Right,
Yeah,
like this idea
this is how I
of
like the design.
you can do it. I mean, they could have stuck a few credits on there. You know,
That's
like
all
10,
I wanted was
10K
some
credits or
kind of
something.
reward for beating all 9 stages. In
But even
3
but
turns.
even then, I have an appreciation of, and I'm going to use their word, right? Like, there's no anxiety that I'm going to miss anything
Oh,
if
boy.
I just got to 8. If I just got to 8 on one of them, like I don't need to go back and go, all right, I got to do it again, even though I've already done it twice. Like I don't feel like doing it again.
Yeah, I agree. And Genshin has something similar where in some of their combat trials you get like a different gold, like you can get a bronze, a silver, or a gold. And if you do much better, you can get like platinum 1, platinum 2, or platinum 3. And there's no extra rewards for getting those higher tiers, but it's just a way to push yourself and push your team. So I really, really like that way of designing extra challenge. And like I haven't cleared 9 on all of them yet. I think I have like 3 of them at 9 and the rest are at 8. Because I just autoed it. And I was like, okay,
Yep.
let's see how far the auto goes. So now
Same.
I'm going to manually go through on the ones that weren't able to auto the 9 and do it that way. So I actually quite like the way that's set up. Like, could they, yeah, as you said, because they've added like 5,000 credits or whatever as a thing, sure, but I don't, to me, the difference is non-existent.
I'm just gonna give a quick time check and say that I feel my ability to participate in the tier list slipping away. It's
Okay.
discouraging me because I really need to argue with Lion about this.
Okay.
All right.
So we will end the survey. I'm going to Actually, no, I don't even need to
Level
do this.
the level of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't get that question. So they do mix up the questions.
Well, I think it's based off
a
how you
fair
rate
amount.
it.
Yeah. If you don't like something,
Well,
they're
no,
like, why don't you like it?
For what it's worth, I rated that highly as well. So I did get different questions. Oh, I like the Final Fantasy V background there. That's good stuff.
Yes.
Void.
Yeah, it is. It's the void. Yeah. So let me get the tier list up. Why isn't this working? Okay. Oh,
Does
why-
anyone else feel like Treevoid's going to anchor to his own opinions here?
Right, with the tier. No, the tier list will be a consensus thing. I'm just gonna provide a preview of what this is. I don't know whenever it shows up. This will be my initial. This is what my gut is on the character tiers here.
Oh, well, holy shit, you're wrong. So good. We got plenty to discuss.
So let me take a screenshot of this first.
Oh my goodness,
Just
that
so-
is painfully
So
wrong.
that we can move forward. Okay, so now is there a reset button? There's a reset button here.
Wrong.
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay, so we will start in, I guess this is alphabetical order. So, Arlen, where do people want to place Arlen?
Well, not down at the very bottom, and that just told me you've never played Arlen.
Yeah,
Would
why would I
give-
use Arlen?
I would give Arlen a.
Someone has to be the worst.
First of all, how old is
It's
Arlen?
not Arlen.
This is important.
Is it relevant?
I pegged him as a
Yes.
teenager.
Yeah,
but-
I think he's like 14, 15.
Then he goes in C tier.
I think we
Okay.
are doing different tier lists.
Yes, the tier list that we originally agreed upon, Treevoid, was not a serious one.
Lord.
Well,
I wasn't
split
prepared
this?
for a non-serious tier list.
I know, that was what was going to make this so great.
Why? No, I prepared for the real deal.
This is what I thought.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I
well,
would give... Is Arlen single target or is he AoE?
He is both. As a destruction unit, he goes down both paths.
he's
oh, good
13
Lord,
apparently.
Is he 13? Really?
That's what Mommy's saying.
No.
Okay, that's
Oh.
sounds maybe correct. I'd probably go with that. So I'll tell you where I have Arlen in A, and I have Arlen
A for
in
Arlen.
I have Arlen in A as part of a group of damage units who I would call totally workable as your main DPS in a team until you have a better option. So Arlen works fantastic, but if you were to have someone better, you probably got Arlen on the bench. So he's very middle of the road to me. Like, yes, you can make Arlen work and make him work really, really well. And if you build teams around him, he can be super strong. But, you know, he's not going to match up to, say, Zealand, right? Like, he's just never going to be at that level.
Down.
Arlen is bad, Serval. They each have their strengths and weaknesses. They really do.
I want to agree with that take, but also I don't know if I can. I feel like Arlen is more of a B.
B for boy.
My goodness.
There we go.
This is
The
Treevoid's
idea
contribution to the
being
tier list argument.
that-
Is
yeah,
the
you can-
No, I think
what does it
Arlen
stand
is-
for?
Yeah.
You can run Arlen as your main DPS, but to the best of my knowledge, and again I could be wrong. I literally literally have never played Arlen. To the best of my knowledge, he doesn't have any kind of real mitigation. I have
No,
last
he has
stand.
negative mitigation. He
The
hurts himself.
I have last stand for the first 2 turns of the fight is not mitigation.
No, it's not.
But he doesn't have any kind of built-in healing or anything like that to keep him in the range that he wants to be at. Kind of like they eventually added the Dark Knight Cecil. So his playstyle is going to require you to heal him, but only a little bit, or to run a shield or something like that that's specifically shielding him, which is going to limit your team building options.
While I understand where you're coming from, there's someone else we're going to come to in the tier list, and I'll be really interested to see where you put them. But like, I don't necessarily see depends on shields as a real negative for him.
Isn't Serval more
I mean,
AoE
it's gonna limit your team building options really severely, because you've only got 2 characters in the game that can reliably shield him enough that he's not gonna just die when you're taking a big hit, which is Jeopard and March. And in the case of March, I don't know if the team that you're going to be running Arlen in is necessarily going to want Arlen to be the one getting the extra aggro, especially since, when they break the shield, you're kind of in trouble. And Jeopard, you can run better characters with Jeopard. Arlen will never be your best option, as you said. He just feels kind of mid.
I just feel like you can make him work, and that's the way my list.
I think that's a low bar, though, right? Like, is there going to be a character that can't work? I guess we'll find out.
I have a few that I would say like you're really twisting your own arm to make them work, whereas I think Arlen is. I can be convinced he's B, but I still think he's A.
And if you take into consideration his, do we want to call it element or typing or whatever, his competition is Genuine and Serval, both of whom definitely feel a lot better.
For what it's worth, I will give you that the lightning typing right now for him is really unfortunate, just because of the competition.
Yeah, and not only that, but everyone has a Serval, so it's not even an availability issue.
If he were like imaginary or quantum or even normal, or physical, excuse me, not normal. Or ice or something like that. If he were an ice character, he would be a lot better, because then he's got a little bit of that mitigation built in with freeze.
I would agree with that. I think that's a really good take, right?
We have a wow. It's almost like you're describing a different character that we're going to get to.
just a bit.
Just a bit.
All right, let's keep him in B. Let's keep it moving, because if we spend this much time on every character, we'll be here for 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay, Asta. I put Asta in A. A for Asta.
Oh my god, he's really doing this. He's really doing this.
That feels appropriate. But
I also have Asta in A. I actually think Asta is generally underrated by the community.
Yeah, I agree.
I think she is a really solid buffer. Under the right circumstances, I think she's as good or better than Tingyin. But it's a little more circumstantial, and it's a little harder to play because of the way her speed buff works and the way her attack buff works. And the other thing is she's really Eidolon dependent. Like,
yes,
with Eidolons, she probably moves up to S tier. If you have her at E6, she's one of the best buffers in the game. I
was going to say she either belongs top of A tier or bottom of S at the bare minimum.
Yep. So I didn't do top or bottom of my tiers.
I did not rate my tiers within.
I blocked them together by like their roles in the party.
That's fair.
So yeah, I didn't really think about like who rates above who.
Yeah.
All right, we're all agreed.
Okay.
The Asta tier.
Yeah, Asta. Yeah, no one else will go in that tier. Okay. Bailu. I had Bailu in S.
Asta tier, in my opinion.
That's only because you're salty. I have Bailu in SS.
Oh, okay.
I have Bailu in SS.
Ooh, that's a spicy take.
Bailu is one of now 3 characters in the game.
Yeah.
That is completely capable of solo sustain. The only reason people are looking past her right now is the current MOC really relies on cleanse, and she doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And that is purely to sell Locha.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that once we are at an MOC that does not put her at a disadvantage, I think everyone's going to be back to Bailu can solo sustain as well as Locha or Japard, and she belongs in the top because she can easily solo sustain your team.
Yeah, if she's capable of solo sustain, which my impression was that she was not. Like that you would need a fire blazer or a or like anything.
Her invigoration
solo
is
sustain.
huge. Yeah, her ability to solo sustain is up there with Japard and Locha.
Right.
The problem she has is she can't cleanse.
I think that it's not as good as Japard or Locha.
Well,
it's definitely not as good as Locha.
I agree.
When we get to Japard,
100%.
I will discuss the reality that you guys are not aware of, but we'll get there. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, then I would put her in SS as well.
She can solo sustain.
She has a lot
That's
of
what SS stands
issues.
for.
Oh god, the solo sustain solo sustain tier.
Now, if we want to create separation, like if we want to say that Japard, Locha, and Bailu are all capable of solo sustain, and you want to create some separation, then it would be Bailu that I would move down to S of those
She
three.
is
Bailu
of the
has
three
damage
solo
reduction as
sustainers.
well? What?
Yeah.
God.
She is the weakest of the solo sustain characters, by far. She has the worst overall typing of the three, by far. And her sustain is all packaged within her ult, much like Japard. She can heal with her skill, but you run into a problem there of the randomness, which, yes, you can target a specific character with that and they'll be guaranteed to get the heal. But there are going to be times where you take a big hit and, maybe you've now run out of invigoration and you need to heal 3 different characters, and it bounces to, one character twice, and then it bounces to Bailu, or it hits the same character 3 times or whatever. It's not consistent enough overall. She's good, but there's a very large gap between her and Locha.
I would agree. If we're gonna have Locha in the top, I can say then that she should probably go down to S.
Well, I think this is a good qualifier. This label of solo sustain. When we get to the other characters, we can maybe discuss moving them. But I feel comfortable leaving her in SS for now. Yeah, just play better, Lion. I don't see what the issue is.
Mm-hmm. The difference is that if you have Locha, you don't have to play better.
That was a fair point.
Have you had characters that died while you had Locha out?
Yes, I have had runs.
When you have a character drop below half, Locha will turn around and heal them for like 3,000 health.
One character.
Yes, and this is not with.
All right, where are we dropping Bronya?
Bronya.
Sorry,
I'm putting
That's
Bronya
fair.
in S.
I would call that. I want to say SS.
It's Brony.
I'm also in S. I think she is really strong and also totally unnecessary.
It's fair. She is not necessary. That's true.
Right? Like here's the thing. If you've got a team, there's no team that depends on Braun. You can throw in a Ting Yun, you can throw in an Asta, you can throw in a Pele, you can throw in a Yukong. You have options, and while they may not quite give you everything Bronya does, they're all pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Her turn manipulation is very cool, but to me, it's not enough to really put her in that SS tier.
I think it's a combination of the turn manipulation plus the attack and crit damage plus the damage percent plus having so much skill point generation. She is like your toolbox character. She's she is very, 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 very good.
Yeah,
He is, no doubt.
I agree on most of those fronts. I think she's kind of annoying with skills because you always, like, I feel like I always want to turn manipulate with her, but I'm always reluctant to use the skill point because you need at least 2 skill points, right? Like her skill isn't 1; it's a 2 cost because you're not pulling someone up to do a normal attack, right? So like you need a little bit more room within your skill point buffer to use her properly. So she's a little bit more finicky on that side. I think her with her signature light cone is a huge improvement compared to her without, because that helps alleviate that skill point crunch a little bit. But she's just very demanding.
The way that she's intended to be played is to use maybe 1 skill in her rotation, maybe 2, depending on who her teammates are. But I basically just use her as an Autobot and skill when I'm trying to buff up like a Don Hung nuke or something like that. Very, very specific situations. Otherwise, generate skill points, go. And it works great.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on to Clara. So in a pre Luocha world, I would have put Clara in A. But now that Luocha is out, I've been putting her in the Spronia team. So
Yep, I've got her in S. She is really damn good. The only reason that I didn't put her in SS is that I wanted to keep SS very much for like characters that stand above what others can do, which is kind of why I'm getting talked into Bailu pulling Bailu down. Because truthfully, like the only damage unit that I have in SS is far and away the top damage unit in the game.
I only have 1 damage unit in SS as well, so
yeah. So I think I think Clara is really, really strong, and especially if you have Lucha, 100% worth building.
Yeah. What about you guys, Lion Cel?
I agree. I don't have her, but I do like her a lot.
Yeah.
I don't have super strong thoughts because I haven't built her yet, but I've seen what she's capable of. So I would agree. S tier. I think that she just misses the SS cut.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. Although I'm really looking forward to pairing her with Lucha and Yukong, which I think is just about perfect for
fun.
leaning into her playstyle. So.
Yeah. I don't like with Luocha, that team, yes, I think is SS tier, but without him, I struggle to see her belonging there.
Without him, she moves down to A, and without him or her signature light cone, she probably would be at the bottom of it. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So Dan, Lion, you're Dan guy.
I do. I hate that I like Don Hung.
I had Dan and Boy tier.
No.
So now you can
he's
say why
definitely Asta tier.
He's Aiden.
He's who?
He's Aiden now. He's Dan. Aiden.
He's a Dan.
I disliked that.
He's a Dan.
He combines the ability to slow down your opponent's multiple times in one skill use with a really, really chunky ultimate that if you're playing into his talent like correctly, like my John Hung isn't even completely, finished being built. I think he's, let me look because I do have the game open. I think he's 70 out of 80, and he has a level 80 light cone. Yeah, he's 70 out of 80 with a level 80 light cone, and he's only got level 7 traces. And he's popping. So I've only hit it once, but I've hit Memory of Chaos with a 50k ult with him, which for a 4-star character felt very, very nice. He's got good typing.
Is wind typing good?
I think so, yeah. Especially right now for Memory of Chaos.
Yeah.
Outside of the what is it, stage 5, I think, that has there's a bunch of stages that are lightning and wind resistant. I say a bunch. It's like 2, but
yeah, floor 10 is weak to wind on both sides.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
But like Don Hung on the stages with the self-healing guy, I don't remember what he's called, but he's very, very good against that guy.
He doesn't. He doesn't have a dispel though, right?
He does not. He doesn't need one. He deals a bunch of damage and slows him down. And then his ultimate, you can typically break that guy in 2 skills and an ultimate, something like that. Although I am also playing with Welt, which helps. I hate that I enjoy using Don Hung because I don't like him as a character. But as a unit, he's very, very good.
He's definitely on my build list, and I agree with this take. Oh, were we changing it to a Dan tier? Yeah, no, I mean, so for what it's worth, like, again, I have a list of damage dealing units in the A tier where it's like you can build a team around Dan Hung and it's gonna work. If you have a better damage character, you can replace him easily. But there's only a few damage characters that are better than him. So he's definitely I'd say he's definitely A tier. A tier for me for damage units was like, it's very much you could build your team around this character and you're going to do well.
I think something that works really well in his favor is he's one of the few damage characters. I think Sampo might be the exception. I don't know enough about Hook to comment. He's one of the few damage characters where if you have to press his basic attack, it's not that bad.
Yep. Yep. That really helps him out.
And you can definitely run him as like a second. I hate to say sub DPS because it doesn't really work here, but it's like you can run him in a 2 DPS team and occasionally basic to make sure that you've always got a skill point in the event that you have to suddenly use one.
For what it's worth, I didn't get a chance to bring this up when we were talking about Arlen as well, but that's another role that Arlen can play because he doesn't need to expend skill points to use his skill. And so that allows him to be a, let's call it secondary DPS more than sub DPS. Right. And gives him some flexibility that others don't have, and both he and Dan have that.
Yeah, true. He won't be expending skill points because he'll be on the ground. So there's no way he could spend skill points, right?
There you go, Treevoid. Yeah. There's a take I agree with.
Yeah, no, that's overly cynical. Move on.
Okay, moving on. We have Gepard, who
C. He's a child.
Yeah. No, he's not child. Okay, they look very different from each other.
Where's G tier?
Where's
all right?
G-tier?
Where's Treevoid gonna slap Gepard?
Oh man, I'm so surprised.
Where could it be? I wonder.
Gee, there's
apparently
the shocker.
He's got a big surprise in store for us. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll start with Gepard. So like obviously I'm a big Gepard fan. I like his character design a lot. I think he's like kind of funny the way like I like his interactions with Serval and everything. So yeah, a bias towards the character aside, he's obviously very good at mitigating. He's like the best proper tank in the game, like for your full party. His typing provides mitigation. His skill is pretty good at applying freeze, even more if you have a signature light cone. He provides very significant shields to the entire party, unlike Fire main character or March, who are both like either tiny shields to the party or one big shield on one person. So in the mitigation role, he's the best that there is. I would say I don't, at least in the current memory of Chaos, with a Gepard as built as mine is, which is fairly built, he is not able to completely solo sustain one side. Regardless of what side it is, starting on floor 9, I have to bring a secondary source of mitigation. In this case, it's Natasha, because I'm not going to bring a second shielder. It's very redundant to do that. So starting in floor 9, I could not solo carry with just a Gepard on this Memory of Chaos. I have his signature light cone. He's 75 of 80. He has level 8 on his talent. He has like 3,600 defense. So like he's not poorly invested, and he is not able to solo mitigate that.
My question would be, how much of a difference is level 80 going to make and increasing his talent levels?
So the only talent that matters is his ultimate. The rest of them are quite bad. It's not very significant. The ultimate levels are an extra 1% each time. So it's like from 43 I am to 45 at 10. And then the base amount is like an extra 30 shield. It's negligible almost. The extra base stats from 75 to 80 will help a little bit, but not like the shields are getting pierced through quite like it's not enough. The difference won't make it. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I actually think that the so-called answer there is not building up Gepard more, it's building up your damage more, right?
Yes,
like
exactly.
it really comes down to when you're running a shielder as a solo sustain, you're in a race, right? Eventually you're gonna get chunked down. So you need to build your damage to be a rush team at that point, because you need to move as fast as you can.
Yeah. So there's two ways you can go. Obviously, you can do what I did, which was add in Natasha and for the extra sustainability and turtle up a little bit, or you can go, maybe 2 Harmony characters and a hunt unit, or a debuff plus a buff plus a there's different team comps you can do to maybe push out enough damage so that you're fully getting past the shield issue. His biggest issue is obviously that his shield is only on his ult. So you can't keep them up any longer. You need to have the ult up. You have a little bit of mitigation from his skill, because you can freeze on it. But if the enemy is resistant to freeze, or if it's a multi-target scenario, you're helping it a little bit, but it's not enough. So I think in terms of the solo sustainers, again, I'm not very familiar with Bailu, but I think Gepard struggles a little bit, at least where I am at in the game.
I still put him ahead of.
Yeah, I would agree.
I still put him just ahead of either. I'm gonna switch my audio real quick, so if it doesn't work, let me know.
Running Bailu in Memory of Chaos, not even getting to stage 10, Bailu is not able to keep up with the damage output that enemies have, which obviously, just do more damage, forehead. But I think that Gepard has a valuable tool in the ability to freeze, which can also help mitigate as well.
I'm at 6, and they're both still doing okay solo sustain. But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, like I didn't have on 8. He was like getting close. 9 was where I needed to bring in Natasha.
Yeah.
So up until then, he was able to do it.
Quick question: how have you built your Japard? I'm curious as far as relics.
He's on 4-piece of the extra shield one. I don't remember the name, and the 2-piece of the defense percent one.
And what main stats?
Let me see. I have the game open. Oh, that's the wrong controller. If I go to characters and I go to card, actually, I guess I can showcase this. Let me hide this, and then go to relics. So my headpiece, it's not great. Basically, just effect resistance. My ring has 9.1 defense percent.
I just mean the main stats.
So defense percent on the body, speed on the boots, defense percent on the sphere, and ER on the rope.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's a lot of crit damage.
Hell yeah. That's his boy.
That's a lot of HP too.
It's a lot of
Holy
HP.
shit, that's a lot of HP.
Yeah, it's a lot of HP.
Oh man.
Gepard is never going to die. Now, obviously, I didn't go for the HP percent. It just
Gepard got a fat ass.
yeah, it just
That's why he's Treevoid's husband.
yeah, exactly.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So
So let me get this back up.
if you are speaking North, we cannot hear you.
Uh-oh.
Was not speaking, but
Okay.
I was on mute.
Okay, now
Nice.
we hear
We can hear you now. So it works. Thumbs up.
Very good.
Your thoughts on Japard's fat ass?
I'm gonna leave those comments to Treevoid. I think he's got that covered better than I do.
True, he's probably the master at covering his fat ass.
you. That's Sampo's job.
Oh.
Oh boy.
My oh my.
For the next one, can we all agree child tier?
Who's next? Herda? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oops, not Herda.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Herda.
Herda.
Yeah,
Herda.
Herda's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
I think Herda might be just generally the worst character in the game.
I forgot
At
where
the
she was a trial character, and I tried her out, and like actually where she's actually leveled up by the game, and she was not doing great anymore.
Like taking her
She's just not great, period.
No.
Yeah.
taking her into the Calyxes early on, because Cel leveled this up.
It was fun.
It was funny. And then it stopped working really quickly.
Then they had too much HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much to say. She's just not really worth the investment, so a lot of people haven't invested in her.
Mm-hmm.
Treewood, I don't get it.
I misspelled Herda. So
Sure. Her old.
Turtle.
her child. Anyway, I just fit her name in there. Okay, here we go. Himiko Hub. Where am I putting her?
Is there something
I just-
above solo sustain for reasons?
Because
Probably.
I had her.
Realistically, I'd probably just keep her at A
Yeah, that
for
feels
alive.
appropriate.
Oh no.
For alive.
For what it's worth, A is where I had her. Again,
Yeah.
in that same group of DPS that you can build your team around her, and it's gonna work.
Yeah. That's
You
what I'm
know,
doing.
You always want a better.
Sells Herda deals, or not Herda. Himiko. Holy shit!
Yeah, she hits
She
hard,
deals-
but
So much damage. Oh my god!
it took so much to get her there.
You should try using her sometime if you never have. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Cells Himiko is the premier farming unit.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
But
Not
it's
just farming.
you know, again, it's the question of what did it take to make that work.
I think that she has a lot of issues, and ultimately it just comes down to her base kit design, where she's really slow. She's really, really, really slow. That's really bad. She's a character who is trying to be a damage dealer, but she doesn't have the speed to be able to actually do damage, and she's relying on other people to do the damage so that she can then jump in to do some damage. It's not a well-designed kit.
My biggest issue with her kit is the whole you got to break 3 times thing, which is great for farming and totally useless when you get into actual difficult content.
Now,
Because 3 breaks when you're against one enemy can take a lot of turns, and so she gets nothing from that.
Against that one enemy, if it's a boss, it only takes that one to fill the 3 stacks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually did not know that. That's good to know.
It's not written anywhere, but it's been like that since it came out, and it's cool. I like
That's
it.
actually that. Okay, so that it doesn't change where I put her on the tier list, but it absolutely makes her better and more versatile than I would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
I think she needs a small. I know this is never going to happen, but a buff, just to her break efficiency, simply because because she needs to be able to break more often. If she dealt less damage on like her skill or ultimate, and they packed all of it into the Beyblade, but she dealt more weakness, like toughness damage, I think that might be a little more satisfying. I don't know.
I would agree with that.
But she does a fuck ton of damage. But I feel like her current iteration, you really kind of, even as you're looking at her Eidolons, you want some of them, but even then, they're not really contributing a ton. So it's like,
Yep, I think that's fair. But she does win the award for maybe the best alt animation in the game.
Yeah,
I think it's extremely cool.
I'd say like at bare minimum top 3 for me.
It's up there for sure.
Yeah, fair. There was a maybe. There was a maybe in there.
I think the only one that even comes close, I would probably give it to Himiko. The only one that really comes close for me is Welt.
Yeah, Wealth is pretty good too.
No, I really like Jingyun's. I love that showing
stay
up.
furry.
I think I just find it overrated, if I'm being honest. Like, I think his is cool, but it's not as cool as people think it is, at least in my opinion.
I don't know.
Mouth hates the Lightning Lord.
I'll be honest, I kind of do.
Yeah.
Gasp.
I kind of do.
We're gonna have to come to blows in a minute then.
Yeah, almost.
Hook.
I think Hook is.
Where's Mino tier?
Yeah, where's the Mino tier?
Oh, child, right.
Yeah.
Is there a want to get my hooks into tier?
No.
So
Lion,
put Mino in
you're
there.
gonna get the stream taken down.
I'm just quoting Mino.
Uh-huh.
Disclaimer. Full disclaimer. I have receipts.
I think Hook. I think Hook is an A tier DPS.
Yeah, she could work if you build a team around her, like Nal said earlier.
Yeah.
I don't really know how she works,
Oh.
other than she does basic attacks.
We were talking about Himiko. I forgot a point, but she wants to do a few things at once, where it's not only the follow-up, but she also wants them to be burned, and she can apply the burn. But then, like, is she relying on the burn for damage?
Yeah.
And she just seems a little confused in that she's doing too much.
Yeah.
Back to Hook.
She's like reverse Welt or Locha.
Yeah, the
Is-
way Hook works is when you use her ult, she gets an enhanced skill, and it does splash damage. So normally it's single target, but after the ult, it becomes an AOE one, just to the adjacent targets. That's basically her kit. It's very straightforward. She's a
She can
fire
also-
damage dealer.
She can also really work well as a hybrid break unit, which can be fun. I have her going between A and B, honestly. Similar to Arlen, she's when I look at that group that I was talking about earlier, she feels like among the worst of that bunch, and I would put her and Arlen at the bottom. So I could put her in A, but I leaned towards B for her.
So the reason why I put her in A is because you have Himiko, and then you have and no one else in terms of a fire DPS unit. So
I do get that.
Yeah.
I just, to me, you got to bring more than, well, oh, you have a good element, right?
I
how
would say,
quickly will you
like,
fall off?
So if we're looking long term, then I would agree. I'd put her down to B. If I'm looking at 1.1, I think she should be an A. Because right now she's really your only option. I mean,
I don't like her
aside from
character
Himiko.
design,
Well, I think it's very cute. I like the hat.
and I don't
I
like.
like
I
it. I like her
hate the
story.
hat, and I don't like her personality. She's so annoying.
Damn.
And also, she's got that. I forget what the term is, but you have to call her. Was it Pitch Dark Hook the Great?
Oh, the Chuny.
Yes, I don't like that at all.
Cel, what do you think of Hook's
I like Hook,
placement?
but I don't think she's that good as a damage dealer. She was good, but there are way more options for damage.
Okay.
But I'd keep her in A.
No in between.
No, I wouldn't put her in between.
I still have her in B.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel she would be as well.
50.
Maybe obviously above Arlen,
50 spit.
but
We'll just.
oh my god,
As long as she's above Arlen, I'm okay with that.
We'll just leave. Okay. I'll leave her in A for now, and then maybe at the end we'll refine it. Jingwan.
Lion tier.
S
Lion
tier.
I also had him in the Sabronia tier.
Yeah, it's a, what would he be? Slightning?
I think
Yep.
it needs to be called
Lord.
Svarog. I think it needs to be called Svarog tier.
Svarog tier? Alright.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Svarog here, but yeah,
Farah is
that's where I had him as well.
He deals good damage. He's consistent with his crits for buffing, Lightning Lord and things, where literally all of his damage is. He plays well with other characters, in particular Ting Yun. Like, that is the same level of synergy as Bronya and Sela, in my opinion. I have nothing but good things to
No,
say.
I think that's an accurate take. I would agree with that completely. Like, they synergize super well together, and yeah, as much as I don't love Lightning Lord, yeah, S tier.
I think my only gripe is that you can't target the Lightning Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
would be
for
nice.
buffs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also I understand why. But if you could pull up the Lightning Lord with Bronya or something like that, that would also be really neat. But yeah, I feel like Jingyuan is probably one of the easiest characters to place here. He's really good.
Yeah, he's just a pretty solid lightning damage unit.
I think the worst part about him is his
he's-
typing.
He's really good, but he's not Zila, and that's the only thing that keeps him out of the top.
Well, yeah,
Like, that's really
he also has issues with the nature of how Lightning Lord is separate from him, right? Like, most of his damage is backloaded onto Lightning Lord, but if he is crowd control
CC.
debuffed, then Lightning Lord won't take the action, so that's a big damage loss. Like, you don't lose the stacks, but you have to wait for Lightning Lord to come back up. So,
Well, if you're CC'd, you have a couple of options for how to remove it. Like Bronya, although I don't know why you would be playing her with him. But you could also use, Natasha or March or Locha. But you know who you can't use? Bailu.
oh my god. Yeah. I think the issue, like, because I normally have a unit that cleanses at some point, but the issue is like Lightning Lord is about to go, but the enemy acts before them, and that's when he either gets imprisoned or
That is
frozen,
typically when it happens.
and then it's like,
fucking
well,
right
this
before he's gonna go.
right before
Yeah,
he goes, and then he doesn't go. So yeah,
Huge-
that is
huge fan.
yeah.
Absolutely huge.
that is why I really like Locha paired with him in particular, since if
Yeah,
he's taking,
they work really well.
if he's getting CC'd, he's probably taking damage, and it's probably going to be enough to drop him below the threshold for the heal. So it's really nice.
So now the newest character, who is very heavily pushed in this Memory of Chaos, the most absurd synergy bias I've seen in a very long time.
I won't say that I agree that he's the best character in the game, but he is definitely 100% the best healer in the game.
His kit is so loaded.
Yes,
And
it
that's
is.
why I say he's the best character in the game. Because he brings so much to a team just by being there. And his healing is absurd. I was really worried when I saw his kit design that his healing was going to be problematic. And it is hilariously strong. Even like the heals you get from his field are stronger than dedicated healer. Like, it's insane. So yeah, best character in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Loaded kit, easy solo sustain.
I'm surprised by how much healing he does.
It's a lot.
Like, I only thought they would balance him by making his heals less potent individually because of the field, but they did not choose to do that.
Well, I think, my thing is he ended up way less offense than I assumed he was going to be. Right? His damage output's not nearly what I expected.
Yeah, his damage output isn't fantastic, but that's
It can be good, but you gotta hyper invest to make that work.
I will say the one thing that I really appreciate is that, unlike, I wouldn't really want this on Bailu. If I get break effect rolls for Locha, I'm very happy with that. Because
I think that can be very team dependent. I think Imaginary Break is awesome when you want Imaginary Break, and if you don't want it, it's obnoxious.
Sure. I mean, if you don't want it, you're probably not using him in that team. Maybe.
Well, I mean, he does so little. Like, it takes a long time for him to break.
His
something.
I
ultimate
use him
deals
in several
2 hit.
cases where I don't want him to break. Like, you don't want him to break when he's with Clara, for example, because Clara needs to counter.
That's fair. That's fair.
As much as I'm enjoying the tier list, I am getting to the point of cooking dinner where I have to bail and put dinner in front of my family. So I'll let you guys continue without me.
You gotta put Lucha in SS tier.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Locha is an SS tier. Now I can feel good.
Yeah.
Enjoy your dinner.
All right, guys. Take care.
Take pictures.
Yeah.
See you later.
See it.
Quick, lower Locha.
Yeah, I'm also
You'll never
part
know.
of the Rocha cult.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
He is very good.
No, he is really good.
Yeah, I was when we get to Silver Wolf, I'll put her. But I was very happy with both of the featured units this patch.
That's good.
Is there anything
Also,
else you guys want to
he
add?
looks really cool.
Yeah, he is cool.
I had a lot of opinions. I was thinking about this while I was at work today. I was planning out some of my responses because I thought we were doing a very different tier list. But I was taking it very seriously. And I wasn't sure where I wanted to put Locha as a result.
Uh-huh.
He was closer to like what we would currently have as boy or I'm not going to say it, child tier.
What the fuck? Wow, okay, that's an insane
Why?
tier. That is so...
I said I was... Well, you'll have to find out on the real tier list. The one that people really came for. The down bad tier list.
Where are we putting March, guys?
March 7th. What do you think, Cel?
Where's the 7th tier? No, I think she's good.
I had her in A, personally.
I can see that. It feels weird that she wants to freeze, but also counters.
Yeah, that's the part that's kind of weird, and that's...
But she is good.
I think the counter is like a bonus thing. The counter's never like super impactful.
I think the freeze is the bonus.
I think the counter is there to help her generate energy. Realistically.
Yeah. Because like when I'm bringing March, I'm not bringing March because I'm expecting her to do damage, right? Like I want her to help protect my team. And the freeze does that. The counter is like nice because it slowly whittles the enemies down. But I mean, again, now that Luocha's here and they have that synergy, that's a little bit different.
I'm all about that.
I'm receiving a ping. Let me take a look. Nolth wants to put March down in B tier.
Oh wow!
Now that's an interesting take.
Damn, if only he was here.
Yeah. All the way in B. That seems too much. No, I don't think so. Like
I'm sure that he has. Good. I'm sure that he has some kind of a rationale for that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would be.
Like, especially with her being ice, specifically, and having the capability of freezing on her ult, I think she does a fairly decent job in her role as a preservation unit.
I like that she kind of doubles down on the freeze by being an ice character that both can freeze on her ultimate, but also with... I mean, you're going to shield somebody, and then you're just going to spam basic attacks. And then with the counters and everything, she actually would end up being a fairly efficient breaker. Less in that she's doing damage and more she's doing a lot of toughness damage.
Yeah.
And so she's pretty frequently going to be getting those as well.
Yeah. And it's not like she can only have a shield on one person either. Like you can put more than one shield. It costs more skill points, but you do have the capability of putting up more than one shield.
So I appreciate that she not only doubles but triples down on that aspect. I really like that.
Hello, Indo.
What's up, Indo?
The Anzu teal, that is the Jaherda Isle team tier right now.
Ooh, he has a couple other real spicy takes in here.
Oh boy.
Oh goodness.
We'll get to them when we get to them.
Natasha, what do you guys think?
I'm child tier because she takes care of children.
Child caretaker tier.
Yep.
That
CC tier.
You make a lot of sense saying that. I'm not gonna lie.
I personally put Natasha in A.
Yeah, especially for 1.1, where they really want the dispel, I would say A.
Yeah.
I am not sure where I want to put Natasha. She's got obviously the heals and the cleanse and all of that, and the heal over time. She typically is just going to spam basic attacks, right? So she's your skill point generating character, huh?
The NBC says what else is new, and I don't know what he's referring to.
He put a
probably
that said y'all ugly, but it doesn't show up in the chat.
The child care tier.
At the same time, though, because she's spamming basics, She's
Good point.
and she's physical. She's also a good unit for if someone has to do the break. She is a good candidate for that, thanks to how well break scales, being a percentage of the enemy's HP. I think A might be the place,
Hey,
but sometimes I'm like, well, I'm in between S and A for Natasha.
Yeah, I'm like on that threshold, but she definitely can't. Like, she definitely can't solo sustain. There's no way. It's just not happening.
No.
I think that if you invested hard enough in her, she probably could.
no.
Because her ultimate is only 90 cost. Which is like nothing.
Her special thing is she heals herself, right? If she goes below an HP threshold.
Once.
Yes.
Yeah, no, she's not.
Yeah, that part
Solo
sucks.
sustain.
100%. That part is shit.
She just doesn't have enough mitigation. Like, she has the healing, but she doesn't have the way invigoration works, or
Luocha's field.
Or Luocha's field. Like,
Yeah.
she has her burst, her ultimate, which even if it comes up pretty fast, it's still not up all the time. And then she's just single target healing, and the regen is not super potent. So I think she struggles. That's why I put her in A, just because she wants help. Now, as a secondary healer, I think she's amazing, because she has all those like little niches and everything. But I think just on her own, she can't quite handle it.
That is a very fair take.
Pella, love the fan art that she's into. You know, I think she's great. But as a character, I have her in boy tier, which I know is a hot take.
We're in boy tier.
It is a hot take.
I just don't like using her.
An icy hot take. Nice. I have her in A tier, close to S, but not quite. If she dealt damage, I would say S tier. But she doesn't.
I would say her damage is the most lacking part, but the rest of what she does is pretty good.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Maybe with
between defense shred and increasing, she lowers enemy effect resistance, or she increases your team's effect hit rate? I forget which one it is. She has the defense debuff as well as ice resistance shred. She is a very, very, very consistent breaking unit, because her ultimate is up so often, and really you're just spamming basic attacks on her any other time. She's very, very good.
She increases party's effect hit rate by 10%.
Yeah.
On one of her traces. Yeah.
But I think that's how she's balanced. I think she has one of the lowest attacks in the game. Which, if it was higher, like if she was able to output the kind of damage that Welt does, she would be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like she has good utility. Obviously, before Luocha, she was unique in that dispel. Now she's not. But I don't know. Like, I feel like her kit has a lot of good bits, and they come together well enough. But it just nothing about it like really excelled to me to the point where I wanted to continue using her, so I dropped her. And again, like obviously lots of people have used her and cleared floor 10 with her. Between like her and March, they were able to like freeze lockdown fights and everything. So she is completely usable and viable, and she's good. I just personally don't like running her very much.
When did you drop her?
Pretty early on. Like halfway through. No, like near the end of 1.0, I just stopped.
Because I feel like one of her, it's not even a weakness, it's more that she just has a lot of competition. There's a lot of ice units and a lot of utility units that have come out since 1.0.
That's fair. I think the place where she's going to be able to shine the most, especially now that Silverwolf exists, is in a mono ice team.
Mono ice, yeah.
You run her with Japard and Yanqing and Silverwolf, and you are going to be fucking cooking. Because she has a very, very fat 40% defense down at max level on her ultimate.
Yeah, and then that would be stacking with Silver Wolves,
and
she has her
the
own ice
resistance.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, if I could fucking pull Yanqing and Japard, that's exactly what I would do.
well,
but I can't.
Maybe that'll be my Yangqing team when I get him, because I have the rest of them. I think my Pella's E6.
Yeah, she shows up super frequently.
Yeah, she's.
I think
E6.
I'm like E20 with her or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's insane.
Susheng.
I don't have an opinion here.
That's Shinflip.
The Qing Shui?
Yeah.
I was close enough.
Wow. Is your Inacro
S noises.
You S?
Yeah. S noises.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't it Qing Shui?
Oh. I see what you mean, her name.
Yeah. Like the cues
That's-
are
I thought you
like.
meant replacement.
Yeah.
That's nothing like Sushang.
It's S noises.
But it starts with a
It's S noise.
Noise, doesn't it?
Chia.
Qing Shui?
Yeah, Xing Shui.
I thought it was Qing Shui.
I think it's a sh more than a ch.
You know what? I don't speak Chinese.
Regardless.
Sorry, Mandarin or Cantonese. So.
I know. I've been told by specifically Sign that she is good. Because
She is good, but it's so RNG heavy, and like her Eidolons do help a bit, but it's still it's like a 24% chance for her follow up to be on the enhanced, or just like in general, and you have to pray it's on the enhanced. Then getting the enhanced is a big skill point sink. I don't know. I can't.
Too much Gamba.
Nulth has her in A tier, and I agree conditionally. Specifically, if you have her at, I want to double check my numbers here.
You're gonna say E4 for the follow up.
No, E6.
Oh, for the I see.
For the skill point.
So I think that her weakness isn't, or at least the part that turns me off, isn't that you have to use a bunch of skills or that it's total RNG, you know, when she's going to get the tiles. It's that her enhanced basic does not recover a skill point, which makes it even worse because she just eats through them and never really is going to be recovering skill points for you. But when her big nuke is now getting you one back, I feel like it's going to be a lot better, especially with the extra damage from her E4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Wami. Like Quantum definitely is doing a heavy lifting for her.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
I would agree with A only because it averages out how good she can be with how much of a deadweight she is most of the time, unless you get really lucky.
Yeah, that's right in the middle of the tier list.
Yeah, I do feel like it is unfair in a way that like everyone else we've sort of been doing like around their base version, and then with her we're like okay, but now it's her E6, and then
that's why I said conditionally.
Yeah.
So, if she's E6, I would put
Treevoid. Just pull up 3 icons and put her each in B and S tier.
Yeah. How do I duplicate this?
And then don't explain it.
You know what? I love that.
I have her at E6, and I don't use her.
Apparently, she deals more damage than Sela if
she gets lucky. Yeah, it's stupid.
You just have to pull a BT on the daily.
Yeah,
better than Arlen.
Good. Yeah, she's definitely better than
way
Arlen.
better than Arlen for sure.
This tier list is just gonna like there's an Arlen tier, a Herta tier, and then everyone else.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay. I think we'll leave Gamba there.
Gamba.
Okay. Sampo. I think
I want to put him in S tier.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It might not be fitting for 1.1, but yeah. I do want to put him because.
Right. So
tell me more.
Yeah. Go ahead.
He's just really good, and I feel like he just ages really well.
Yeah,
his wind's going to be useful. Dots are going to be useful.
I think Sampo and Serval have the exact same rating for me, which right now is A, and then with future dot synergy, I would push them both to S because they're both really good at applying their dots. But at the moment, I just think he's fine, but I'm not using him right now, even when floor 10 of Memory of Chaos is wind weak.
I'm looking at him in maybe A or B tier. Malthian has him in B.
Wow,
which
okay,
I think is haters. I think that's a little low because he's at the bottom of B. I don't know if he ordered his tier list like that.
He said he didn't order it.
But he feels like he's kind of in that general area. It's really nice to have a character that can break really well for wind. He applies his stacks super, super quickly. He buffs his own damage with his ultimate. His dot damage, I mean. And it's nice to have someone who, once he gets set up, he can just basic attack over and over again because it's going to extend the dot and it's going to generate points for your team and so on. The part that I question, and I stopped leveling my Sampo partway through the game because I started trying to focus. Let me see where I have him at so I can give a frame of reference. My Sampo is 40 out of 50. My impression at the time was that he wasn't doing enough damage. The dot damage was okay, but Serval was hugely out damaging him, and so was Don Hong. But investment levels and then relics and eidolons and things like that. So I'm a little more neutral on him, I think.
If anything, what does take away is that right now you would need the enemies taking turns to be affected by his dot.
And that as well is you need them.
Yeah, you might just want to rely on a counter character. Or if you're rushing them down, his dots won't be triggering as often.
If there was a way for you to somehow apply his dot and then he could trigger it, or
that'd be great.
Do extra damage,
should kind of like that.
Yeah, like Serval, she can do extra damage to enemies that have her shock debuff on them every time she attacks them.
I mean, my Sampo does do damage.
If Sampo does that,
he does that.
He does what?
He triggers his wind shear.
So at E4, when you hit an enemy who has 5 or more wind shear stacks, they take 8% of the damage.
Yeah, he does have.
Yeah.
And
so he won't. I can't escape him. I have him at E4.
So gotta cover Jeopard's fat ass.
So how much damage does wind shear do?
I don't use him, so I'm not sure.
Wow.
But I'm just saying that.
So
he does have that ability.
Hang on. Let me go to the site and let me look at him at max talent level, just to be fair. Where it is, wind shear. There it is. 57%. So you're looking at 342% at E1 or whatever. If you're doing 8% of that, that's like 40% of his attack, give or take. I'll round and call it 45-ish. even though it's probably not accurate. Whereas Serval at the same level, I think she does more damage. Because she just hits them every time.
Yeah, but his skill hits like 6 times at that point.
Yeah, but she's doing that damage to all enemies that are shot every time she does damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like twice as much. But Sampo does have a little bit better typing because there's not that many wind characters. I think it's him and Don Hong, Bronya.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if there were some way to trigger, that's the big weakness of dots right now. Is there's not a way to trigger them. Emperor style. So if there's a character that has like Emperor's HP plus and can do that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Cel.
Worst
Sheila.
character in the game. Terrible.
Farah.
Child tier.
Yeah.
Literally acts like a child. Child tier.
In the only DPS I put in the SS tier.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't have solo sustain at all. What are you talking about?
Yeah, she solo sustains the party by killing everything.
True.
You've swayed me with your argument. That's carry on. She's easily the best DPS character in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not close.
Seal sucks tier.
Wami says Lucille sucks too. Alright, you know what? That's still SS. She
Well,
fits.
Preach, Wami.
I guess because you're never crits on her alt. Are you still having it?
Wait, does she not?
Shade.
No, it's
Damn.
not shaded. It's a real struggle that Wami has. She is cursed.
Pretty. It's funny and also kind of sad.
That's
I've used Wami Sela before, like many times, and she has this insanely high. It's bordering 70. It's almost 75%, I think. The last time I looked, and her ultimate like never crits.
That's terrible. He's cursed. He's just cursed.
Yeah. She never crits.
Look, he even has SSG.
Yeah.
He agrees.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, man. But I think in a normal use case, just like the ability to clean up ads super effectively, which is extremely useful in Chaos 10 this time because it's against Kafka, and whenever an enemy attacks that isn't Kafka, she does a follow-up attack.
Yeah.
So you want them dead immediately. So her being able to clean them up because they're all pretty low health is pretty great. Yeah, so she kind of does like have a little bit of an erudition to her. Obviously, if it's like 2 mini bosses, then she's kind of maybe not quite as strong as a proper erudition character, but her ability to take extra turns and for all the buffs applied to her to not go down during that extra turn is extremely impactful. That's why Bronya is such a good partner for her, because her 1-turn buff becomes a 2-turn buff. So yeah, like everyone talks about how good Cel is, so not a shocking pick for me here. Okay. Anything else, guys, or are we moving on to?
I think she's like the easiest one to place in the game.
Okay,
Yeah.
Serval.
S. Easy.
Farog.
Yeah, and the
Varog.
here.
Yeah.
Again, I bundled her with Sampo, but
I don't know. I don't use her.
I haven't dicked
Yeah, I
around
don't
with
use
the
her
break
either.
effect setup yet. But a character with a 100 cost ultimate that it can extend a break like dot infinitely. And it's so easy for her to keep getting her ultimate back over and over and over again. Oh my god. I love Serval.
in the Serval tier.
Yes.
Verbal.
I agree. Serval tier. Yes.
Vervog tier.
It's got 4 of the same letters as Farog. It must. It is canon. I don't
She
know what
is
it is.
Svarog? Oh my god, I never thought about that.
She could be.
Svervog.
Servog tier.
Servog.
Yeah.
Servog works.
Make it so.
Yep, thank you.
She was my primary DPS character up until Genuine came out.
Nice.
No regrets. I take that back. There's one regret, and it's that I didn't keep leveling her when I started going like talent level 9 Genuine.
Yeah, and then you have to do the damage showcases to do the comparisons between them.
She's very, very fun. He does more damage at a time. I think her damage is a bit more consistent. Because it's not all concentrated in the goddamn Lightning Lord.
That would make sense.
Lightning Lord.
Yeah, I wonder with future dot synergy if she will surpass him. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it depends, I guess, how the synergy.
I don't think so.
Because I'm not quite sure how close they are right now, right? So, like, how big is the gap that has to be closed or exceeded?
I think he definitely does more damage. I don't think the gap is that large, though. But I don't know. I don't calculate these things. It's probably about as much as maybe the gap between Sela and Genuine, which is significant, but not so much that it makes him terrible.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have much to say about Serval just because I didn't build her because I knew I was going to
blame Lion.
Yeah.
I think the worst part of her setup is that she is, again, a lightning character. Lightning is very, very oversaturated.
Yeah. There's only 2 characters.
There's 4.
Yeah, Bailu doesn't count. She's
actually there's Ting Yun. I forgot about her. That's 5.
Yeah, she doesn't count. She's a support unit.
Yeah, but you're often going to be especially with the next character coming up. Mono Electro is definitely Mono Lightning is definitely a thing.
Yeah, so
that you can do.
So that's a good thing, not a bad thing, right?
So it's harder to control who's breaking, and Serval wants to be doing the breaking. I could be convinced to move her down to the same tier as Dan Heng.
A sample. No, I think we can leave her in.
Yeah, it fits with the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Doing it for the content.
Yeah. Silver Wolf. Yeah, I think Silver Wolf belongs in the SS.
Svervog Wolf.
Girl tier.
I think her ability to cheat fights and the impact of her defense down is enough that you build teams around the fact that you have Silver Wolf. And I think characters that sort of warp your team around them are deserving of that like status.
So you're saying she solo sustains the team?
Yeah, exactly. Just like Sele does.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm biased as hell because I really like her, so I'm okay with putting her at S. But I agree, SS tier.
I mean, she's just Bronya again.
Yeah.
I think that if she were a different element, like if she were lightning, she would not be nearly as good.
Good point. Yeah.
Because Quantum is rare, and also the breaks are dummy strong.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good character. Haven't played her yet, but I know. Any character that's able to pull off like a 2-turn ultimate is not going to be shit. Probably.
Yeah.
I think her only real weakness is that she's a single target specialist. And the RNG of the bugs
Yeah, I was gonna say the weakness implant being RNG. If you're not careful, you'd still get fucked over.
Yeah. Like, you kind of have to plan your team a bit more in terms of who you're bringing to what fight and all that. But I like that about her because I think, as we were saying about Yukong earlier, that she's not necessarily so plug and play, and I do like that. There's some characters that require a little bit more thinking, even though she is like the cheat code character. She does add a little bit more thinking in the pre-planning part of the fight compared to afterwards.
I think that Hoyoverse, whatever you want to call them, the devs, I think that they are absolutely goated out of their minds for creating this character specifically with the ability to only implant a weakness if the enemy doesn't already have it. So if the enemy is weak to physical and you're running physical and quantum, she's only ever going to implant quantum weakness.
She can implant physical on that scenario.
That is not what I have been told.
Yeah.
No, if they have an innate weakness, she won't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they have the innate weakness, she does not apply that.
If that's the case, I've never run into that, because there's been many times where I've run her, where like the enemy
where they're like weak already and she'll implant it.
Really?
Yes.
We'll have to look.
I've never heard of that.
I don't know, Cel. I trust you a lot, but this flies in the face of everything I've done.
I don't play her. Like, I haven't built her yet,
all the time.
I use her all the time.
I don't have a dog in this fight. Sorry, I don't have a gorilla in this fight.
Lion is correct. Okay, in the battle between me and Cel, who is correct here? We all use
spam E a ton.
Yeah.
All I know is what the content creators tell me, which is that Sephiroth is one of the best DPS characters in the game.
We're content creators, Lion. I really don't think that's the case. I don't know what to say.
What's funny is looking at Nalth's tier list. The solo sustain tier is the same 5 characters in almost exactly the same order.
Well, yeah, this isn't tiered.
No, I just mean they happen to be the only ones that are switched are Silverwolf and Sela.
Yeah, thank you, Wami. Gorilla Squad represent. Yeah, Wami.
First time impossible.
Wami saying I'm right, Cel. I don't know. But maybe you've ran into a unique bug.
It'd be fitting.
Yeah, it would be.
Maybe she's hacking your game.
Yeah, the Haxer Bunny is showing up. Well, we'll leave Silverwolf there for now.
Yeah.
I wish Nalth was here for this, because this is like his favorite character.
I can tell you where he put her.
In SS? No, I know.
No.
He put her in S?
He put Sushong, aka Chicken Girl, in A tier.
Oh, really? Okay, because that's where I put her. I thought he would rep her.
That's also where I would put her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited to build her and play her. What is she at right now? 50 out of 50.
Yeah, so the way she works is she does free turn follow-ups, right?
So the way that she works is when she attacks an enemy, she has a chance of doing extra ticks of damage. He's back. Hang on.
Oh?
Hang on. Let's listen to the man himself talk about Sushong.
Oh, did I get back just in time?
You did!
He felt it.
So you guys have her in the right tier. You've done it correctly. I absolutely love playing Sushang. Like, honestly, one of my favorite characters in the game right now to play. The ultimate animation is hilarious with the chicken, but it just feels good to play, and I love that the way I'm able to build her as a hybrid damage and break unit. It really, really feels good to use her. So super versatile. You can run her as main DPS in a team. Also, I'm really enjoying running her with Clara and Silverwolf and Locha right now, which I think makes a really, really nice team. Both Clara and Sushang lean into Locha's style of healing, so it works out great. Yeah, this is I'm a huge fan of Sushang, but yes, like going back to what I said earlier, can you make a better team with the characters that you have in the S tier? I don't know who put Serval in the S tier, but
we did collectively.
Yeah, well, we're wrong.
I said that I could be convinced to move her down to A tier.
Yeah,
no one did.
I feel like she's on the line.
I feel like she's an A, but I agreed to compromise on S.
Yeah. She belongs in A, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, Sushang, you can use her in a lot of different ways. It's fun.
Yeah, I think one of the unfortunate things about Sushang is that her extra damage is not considered follow-up. It's just additional damage. So it doesn't get any of the bonuses from follow-up or anything like that, which is,
It would be nice if it had them.
It would be nice.
It would definitely be nice.
But yeah, getting the free turn from her ultimate into, extra damage. So yeah, pretty yeah, good.
I mean, the nice thing is ultimate skill is such a satisfying combo to do. She is like the budget Zila in that.
Yeah.
I look forward to pairing her with Yukong for that.
She works really well with Yukong. You can sort of go the Locha, Yukong, and then you can do Sushang and Clara if they've got physical weakness. But then you can mix things up. You can either take out Yukong or take out Clara or take out Sushang if they don't, and drop Silverwolf in. And it's still a really amazing team.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Chicken Girl?
I like chicken.
I'm not going to comment.
I actually haven't eaten since this morning, so some chicken sounds really good right now.
Well, how about some fox?
Oh, good lord!
Don't eat fox.
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't sound very good.
I put Ting Yun in S. I don't know.
I also had her in S, but I'm gonna give a hot take, and it is that I think she's really good. Let me throw that out there first before I really piss people off.
You're gonna piss me off.
She's the most overrated unit in the game. She's really good. She is not the Bennett of Star Rail. She does not bring the same level of just breaking the situation as Bennett.
The Bennett of Star Rail. That is a wild take.
Yeah, I mean, they also do totally different things.
I would have thought that the Bennett would be Locha at this point.
The Bennett of Star Rail was like the way back in 1.0. That was the way she was talked about. Like, oh, she adds attack to everybody, and everyone can make use of her buff. And like, there's truth to it, but Bennett's buff is I don't want to say it's unlimited because it is limited by his base stats and what the highest damage weapon is, but hers is limited in much more tangible ways. She can give great buffs. She does not give what can effectively be a 35% attack boost to a damage unit. And that's a big difference. But she's really good.
what? Okay, I do not think she's better than Bronya, but I do use her a lot.
You make a really good argument.
I think they have different use cases.
No, you make a good argument. Treevoid doesn't. It's impossible.
I like when I'm bringing, just to address the point Wami made. Let's say like I'm running a Sela team. I'm usually not running Tingyun with her because she goes through the Tingyun stacks pretty quickly. But I would bring Bronya. When I'm running Jingwan, I do not bring Bronya. I bring Tingyun because Bronya and Jingwan don't work well together. I think they just work with different characters. But I think the overall utility that Bronya brings with the cleansing and pulling up in the turn manipulation is a little bit more useful than Tingyun's other utility being her energy transfer on her ultimate.
That energy transfer in the right circumstance, though, with like
it can always come in
Jingyuan,
very clutch. But I think
Jingyuan and Sushang both make great use of it.
I mean,
because
Gepard makes great use of it too. If you need an emergent, your shields are down and you need it, right?
I think that average use case, Tingyun is better than Bronya. Because she plays better with more DPS characters than Bronya would. When you look at the various DPS characters that we have here, Tingyun can work with Sela. It's not perfect because of specifically the way that she works with all the turns that she takes. But you could say the same thing of how she works with Gepard. But Tingyun would also work with, Silverwolf or Clara or Serval or Don Hung or Himiko or whoever, just off of the have some extra attack aspect. But she also gives them energy and extra damage percent. Or if you're in a pinch and you need to use your healer's ult, but it's not up yet, you can do that instead. Or when you buff your hyper carry, when you start doing auto attacks with Tingyun, the extra damage that she gets from that scales off of your hyper carries stats. She's doing a lot more overall, I think.
I would frame it. I like what you said. I would frame it this way. I think Tingyun is definitely more versatile than Bronya. I don't think that's even in question.
That's fair.
I think in these situations where Bronya is better, she's a lot better.
I would agree. I would say that Bronya is like a scalpel. Where Tingyun
like
is.
a Bronya Sela situation, or even like a Bronya Dan Hung situation, or a Bronya Sushang situation. Like that is Bronya to me puts the hyper into hyper carry, whereas Tingyun is a little more like, I'm going to make the team better, but I can work with anyone.
Well, I feel like this isn't a Bronya section, but Bronya also works with non-damaging units. If you need a heal and you don't have it she can pull up a healer. She can pull up your Gepard, who is one turn away from having enough energy to get his ultimate off, and then he can do she's only never doing it.
Where Tingyun could just give them the energy
only when her ultimate is up,
and it won't cost you skill points.
Only when her ultimate is up.
Mm-hmm. But it won't cost you skill points,
right?
The way it does with Bronya.
I take the reliability of Bronya's turn warp over Tingyun's burst. Tingyun's burst is not up all the time. It's not
turn warp is an incredibly powerful mechanic, right? Like it is what it is. It's insanely strong, but what that means is that it's insanely strong when it's needed, and it is okay when it's not. Anyway, I don't know that I would call her better. I don't think I would call Ting Yun better than Bronya, because I think Bronya's cap is higher, but I will agree that she's more versatile. Even taking into account Treevoid, your point, which I think is fair, it's still a case of, I think the versatility in where Ting Yun shines is more than where Bronya shines.
I use them. I mean, I use them both. I have Ting Yun at E6. I have her with Dance Dance Dance. Like, she's doing a lot, right? Like, I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying that,
I think she contributes.
And they have different use cases.
But also, Ting Yun is lightning Shenhe. So, she's clearly better.
Mm-hmm. You can't use Bronya with Serval. Yeah,
Bronya with Serval works, but it doesn't feel good.
It's not ideal.
Well, because
it's definitely not
the
ideal.
dots scale off attack, which Ting Yun is. Yeah. Again, I just think you use them in different scenarios. So
you do, and
I
for what it's worth,
trying to say like, oh, one is better than the other is gonna.
I think it's a lesson they learned from Genshin.
Yeah.
Like I think the reason we can have this debate is because Bennett existed for so long in Genshin, and just dominated the support category for the longest time. The only thing that broke that was Dendro being completely useless with Pyro.
Yeah.
But it was this case of, okay, let's not make that mistake again. So I like that they have different use cases.
Yeah, for sure. And then just, I guess the one last thing I'll say is, again, Bronya has a cleanse that Ting Yun does not, which is like when you need a cleanse. It's very important, especially on, let's say, a unit who's been imprisoned, where even if you cleanse the imprisoned, they're still all the way back. If Bronya pulls them up, like that sort of resolves that issue. So, or if they're frozen, right? Like they're still going to get delayed once. Like, I feel like there's scenario, like quite a few common scenarios where you want something like a Bronya. Like, but just to be clear, in my floor 10 clear, I did not bring Bronya. I brought Ting Yun. So not all cases where Bronya is better, but I just think it might be a little bit. We might be going too hard on Bronya here, but regardless, we'll move on.
Who is we? But also, you're fence sitting.
I'm not. I
Damn
say
Canadians.
I think Bronya is better, but I think you and Wami are just hating. You're the Bronya.
No,
haters.
I think Bronya is really good. I think Ting Yun is a bit better. Not like massively. I think she's
Fire Trailblazer.
Fire Trailblazer. I don't agree with your take at all, no.
I put them in A.
B for Blazer.
Man, that's
I'll
really compelling.
So I'll justify why they put Fire Trailblazer into B. And it's really honestly that there will never be a scenario where Fire Trailblazer can solo sustain. It cannot happen. And they have better damage than a Japard or a Bailu. It's not good enough to warrant the fact that they can never ever solo sustain. Really good when you're going to run a 2 sustain team. In fact, it can be super, super useful. They also have great break. And so you can build them with some break effect. But the fact that like their purpose is to be a tank, I think they were awesome in 1.0. I think they're okay now, and I think they're on the downslide because I have a strong feeling we are going to get to the point very quickly where solo sustain is the name of the game.
I have a question for you then. As a sort of counterpoint. I noticed that you have Natasha in A tier.
Yes.
I assume that Natasha is not in a higher tier because she does not solo sustain, right?
She can cleanse.
That's fair. In the case of Fire Trailblazer, I think that they also belong in that A tier because while they cannot solo sustain, they do so much mitigation. Realistically, you're going to be pairing them with Natasha most of the time. But the frequency of those shields, along with the insane amounts of skill point generation, really tips the scale. It's Fire Trailblazer is definitely better than Arlen by a lot.
But for what it's worth, first off, I don't agree with that. I think you guys are underrating the hell out of Arlen.
Well, maybe so.
Need to have
But
someone in the B tier.
I had Arlen in the A tier. I had Fire Trailblazer in the B tier. And I had Fire Trailblazer in the B. I agree with everything you're saying. But the truth is they can never handle their role on their own. And they don't bring anything else unique to the table, right? The other thing they bring to the table is good fire break. You know who else does that? Asta, who also does a hell of a lot more for the team other than that. You're correct in that, yes, you would pair him with Natasha. However, number one, I think Natasha's much closer to being able to solo sustain than Fire Trailblazer is.
That's
and
fair.
number two, she has cleanse. So let's say that you don't have Branya and you don't have Locha. You can bring her purely for the utility of that cleanse. Whereas if you've got, let's say you've got Japard in the team, or let's say you've got Bailu in the team, you're not going to bring Fire Trailblazer because you don't need the mitigation. What you need is the cleanse. And so Natasha adds a lot of value to her kit with that cleanse.
The only part of that I will really disagree with is the last bit. Because of the solo sustain characters, Bailu is the weakest. And there have been times in Memory of Chaos where I have been killed through Fire Trailblazer shields and invigoration. Now, obviously some part of that is going to be due to skill issue.
I went Trailblazer.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I don't think that's a point in Fire Trailblazer's favor either.
Okay. I'm just disagreeing with that particular statement. That you would never pair the two of them together, which you can. It does work. That's what's carried me through a lot of the game. But also,
I think the more built your Bailu becomes, the more invested Bailu becomes, the less relevant Fire Trailblazer becomes. See, this is the thing, is like I genuinely think that the takes on Fire Trailblazer in 1.0 were spot on. It was like S tier, super useful, amazing for your team. Brings a lot of break, helps smooth out the damage. I just think that as we get towards heavier investment in our characters, Fire Trailblazer starts to seem much less attractive.
We'll add, and I think that this is relevant at this point. Fire Trailblazer is the one free, one of the two free preservation characters. Everybody gets them. Fire Trailblazer is the only preservation character, only character in the game, unless you're counting physical as a different character, that has the ability to be gotten all the way to E6 for free. Nobody has E6 Trailblazer. And that is a very large defense increase that may affect, it's 30%, that may affect your solo sustained viability. Probably not by that much,
I don't think it's ever. I mean, it's ever going to be enough, right? When you talk about the amount of shields that Japard can throw down compared to Fire Trailblazer, and you still end up in a DPS race. That's a challenging proposition. Though, I would say this. I am probably also underselling the value of Fire Trailblazer's taunt and built-in damage reduction. I think it's something that, because of the skill point generation you're talking about, we all tend to lose sight of from time to time, that he is beefy as hell with that taunt up. Forget the shield, can just mitigate enormous amounts of damage.
Yeah, I think the shield
with the taunt up.
I think the shield is like a red herring, because the shield's like, they're there, but they're not really all that much. They're pretty weak, but the damage reduction that he has, which is like 15%, on top of the taunt, is really more where it's at. Especially if you give him like something like Day 1 of My New Life, adds even more damage reduction to the party. I think that's where you're leaning towards.
What is Japard's ultimate cost?
Let me go to.
I think it's 100.
Ability ultimate is 100.
Okay. I think the major thing, at least as far as the shields go, in Fireblazer's favor is the frequency with which you get them.
Totally agree.
Japards are very big. That's very fair. But Japard's not going to play as well with someone like Sela, who, by the time she's done with whatever she's doing, the shield is gone, right? Obviously, there's some ways to optimize your play there, but with someone like Fireblazer, you get it whether you basic or skill or enhanced basic. You can do it on your off turn with the ultimate. It doesn't have to be a big shield, because it's going to be up all the time, and it's only going to soak a quarter of an attack, let's say, but your healer, because you're going to be needing to run one anyway, is also going to be there to help pick up some of that slack. And since it's obviously going to be Natasha, because she can't really solo sustain, I think is the agreement, outside of very high-end investment. I lost my train of thought there. I think it'll end up being fine.
Yeah, like I think
that he's an A. I think he's better than a B. I don't think he's anywhere near an S. But I think that why did I say he? I do think that Fireblazer is like bottom of A tier. Maybe not the bottom, but in that area.
I think the fact that everyone gets them adds value to the character, especially because you get them so early. So you will always have a somewhat decent tank combined with Natasha, who you also get for free. So you always have like a starting team for new players that can ease you into the game and with mitigation and all that. I think there is value there.
I hear where you're coming from. I don't agree with that value being reflected in a tier list, right?
Well, that's fair.
You don't say that, well, Bailu has to move down a tier because you have to be Lion to get Bailu.
Man.
Like you can't.
No.
Couldn't make it without doing it.
I think in terms of like when we're rating characters, I don't think the fact that they're gacha or standard banner is a disservice. Like I agree. You can't knock characters down for that. But I do think just the fact that everyone has access to them, I do think means that like there should be a little bit more consideration put into their value and their utility. And
don't get me wrong. I think there's value to that. Yes. I don't think that makes Fire Trailblazer a better character, right? Like if the if the tier list is in any way objective, which of course it is not, because there's never been an objective tier list, then it's how the character is acquired does not change their power.
It's true.
Like, technically, then, should we be moving? Like, should Natasha move up because everyone gets Natasha? Should Xing Cui move up? Everyone gets Xing Cui.
I think the only part of Fire Blazer being free that's relevant is the free Eidolons, and nothing else.
Yeah, I do think that's fair. I do think that is at least fair.
The last thing I have to say about Fire Blazer is that they are the fire element, which is a big point in their favor for end game content. Looking specifically at their ability to break stuff. I don't think it's doing them a ton of favors in this current Memory of Chaos, but I haven't gotten to the last 2 stages.
I think 9.
It did them
is
very
double
well in the
fire.
previous Memory of Kara. Remember, the previous MOC fire was used constantly.
Yeah, on 9, one of them is weak to fire.
I know people like to shit on simulated universes not being real endgame, but when you're doing like difficulty 5, Kafka and stuff like that, you got to come prepared for that shit. And if you're not able to break Cocolia, she's probably going to wipe your party. So the element is relevant there as well, is what I'm getting at. I don't see them on here, and this feels like the natural point to ask.
Oh yeah, Physical Blazer.
Fizz Blazer?
Yeah.
Question mark?
I think Physical Trailblazer is fine. I would probably go B tier. It's not bad.
Physical Blazer doesn't do anything.
Nobody uses it, to be fair, right? Like, no one uses it because fire is so much better.
Well, I mean, like, I would never use... I don't have a use case for fire anymore. I would never use Physical Blazer because they don't bring anything.
No, they really don't.
Right? Like,
They're
literally just a fire damage or a physical damage unit.
They're the ultimate starting unit, right?
Yeah.
Like, just hit shit with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Don't they have high multipliers or whatever?
Reasonably, but
I don't know. I haven't used them since I got Fire.
there's nothing to the kit, right? The only thing the kit has is the versatility of AoE and single target.
Yeah.
Like, the ultimate alone, I'm willing to put Physical Blazer below Herta. I'm so tired of seeing that fucking animation.
I like the Physical Blazer animation. Oh, no, sorry. I thought you meant... I heard fire in my head. I think the physical one is cool, though, where you pull out the
Hate it.
The spinning
bat.
of the baseball bat.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Raiden one, where, she pulls it out, and then... I think it's cool. It's all shocking.
It's kind of not similar at all, though.
It's not.
It's a sparking blade.
It's not a blade. It's a bat.
That's a stretch.
It's a long stick. That's
a stretch. Should we talk about Welt?
Stick. I agree with where you placed Welt, Nolf. S tier.
Well,
Yeah, S tier.
Easy S tier.
Lots of damage, imprison, imaginary
Flow. Lots of damage.
The beautiful thing about Welt, to me, is that his kit everything works so well, right? Like, if you made him any other element, his kit would feel really weird, but it's all just, it ties together so neatly for him. He's definitely high on my really wish I had this character list.
Yeah, I got a lot of shit for pulling so hard to get him. Oh my god, so worth it.
Yeah, and he does a lot more damage than people give him credit for. I think it's easy to sleep on his damage.
The randomness of his skill is one of his only downsides. Outside of him, he's very hungry for skill points, because once you start getting that going, you many number make brain feel good. But when you basic attack, you only see 2 number and brain not feel so good. But between the slow and the imprison, and this cannot be understated enough, the vulnerability that he adds on his ultimate. Oh,
That's
amazing.
a good call out.
Yeah.
He's just really damn good.
I wish Himiko was as good as Welt.
Welt's cool. He's
I mean,
a cool character.
he's the type. He's the type where it's just because he doesn't excel at something, he doesn't belong in SS, but he's so damn good. Like I think he's absolutely S, and it would be. You could even make the argument of putting him up higher, but I wouldn't make that.
I put him in
excellent
A,
character.
so I think he's fine. He has good mitigation with the slow and being imaginary, and he has good imaginary shred. So yeah, I think he's a very good mitigation unit. But I just don't think he really excels enough to, I feel like, go with the rest, aside from Serval, with the rest of the S tier units.
I look at the S tier damage dealers, and I'll call Welt a damage dealer here, as you are going to build a team around them, and it's going to be a solid step up from those DPS characters in the A tier. And I'm looking at Su Shang, I'm looking at Dan Heng, I'm looking at Qing Shui. And yeah, Welt's a solid step up over all of them.
The best part about Welt, to address that, he's a damage dealer that you do not have to build a team around. He can be your secondary DPS, and he will still function incredibly well.
He also synergizes really well with, one of the things that we didn't talk about with Sushang is that one of the things that can work really well with her is because of the way her
I see where you're
sword
going.
stacks work. She pairs incredibly well with an imaginary team because she works super well with Imprison and as well as the Quantum Break because of the delay on the enemy's turns, and they stay broken. And Sushang hits broken enemies like a truck. So if you want to build her as a full damage dealer, that to me is the best way to do it. Then you're not relying on her breaks, you're relying on her attacking broken enemies.
And Welt is very, very good at breaking.
Very good at breaking. And and imaginary break is nice because it keeps them broken a long time.
Yeah, like I treat Welt more as a mitigation unit and like a debuffer as opposed to a DPS. So yeah, maybe like a secondary DPS role.
I think the beauty of him though is that you can 100% use him that way, and he pairs great with the Sushang in that case. You can also build him as your main DPS, and he works really well that way too.
Yeah, I just mean like you can build him as a DPS, but his kit is you can't not get the delay part. Like that's baked in, right? So the damage is like an extra. I guess if you want more effect hit rate, but
it does make it does limit things a little bit. Like you'd certainly never pair Welt with Clara, for example. Yeah. Right? Like there are definitely things
it's not a good idea.
Yeah, there are definitely things that don't.
See you later, Wami.
See you, Wami. Yang Xing, man. Oh, you were right at him too.
Oh, that's a take I'm not going to agree with at all.
Not agree with that take. Pot would not be happy.
Unlike Yanxing, that is a hot take. Because he's ice.
Also, he's like 8. So
What?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his official
like
age is like
9.
8 years
What's
old.
that got to do with anything?
Absurd.
Because you said hot.
He's a child here.
Yeah, he's a
Yes,
child.
All right, well,
it's a hot take because he's an ice character.
Let's go ahead and talk about him.
Don't be weird, Treevoid. That's some Mino talk.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and talk about him.
Okay.
He belongs.
S.
He belongs in the S tier.
Yeah.
They're small.
And I
Conditionally SS.
would
was
say
gonna
this.
Say conditionally SS.
Yeah, well, and here's the interesting take that I have on this, is that if you pair him with Japard and you're dealing with ice weak enemies, he's SS. If you pair Clara with Locha and you're going against physical weak enemies, she's SS. Like
Fair.
it's so I think that we got to make the call. To me, they're either both SS or they're both S. And when I go back to damage, the reality is Zila is just so damn far ahead of everyone. It's really hard for me to think that another damage dealer can be an SS.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm leaving them in S. Just like how I left Clara in S. But I'm just saying, like, when you team them up, then, yeah, they get pushed further beyond. Yeah.
Incredibly strong. It's just, truthfully, the only reason I have all these DPS characters, who I do think there's some separation, right, between Clara and Yanqing, are probably ahead of Jingyuan and Welt, is how I would rank them. But because Zila is so damn strong, she ends up in the tier above.
Yeah, he really is the ice crit boy, Yoshi.
Yes.
You don't need any crit rate on him. He just go down.
He is the ice crit boy.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily put Clara above Jingwon. I guess it depends on.
I don't think that I would either.
But overall, I do think like Yangqing, because he's ice DPS specifically, also has that niche, not niche, but that limited mitigation built into him as well, which I think is a nice thing to have on top.
It's definitely that.
Like, it's better than Thunder.
Pretty cool.
Which is not very useful at all. Like, you don't really care that Jingwan is a Thunder character. It's not.
You and they
helping
resist
out.
it.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you're never like banking on him to break for the break. It's not a meaningful break effect, compared to something like a Sela with the quantum break, which is huge because quantum break is busted, or Yangqing with being able to freeze, or even Clara with physical breaks bleed. So he has a really good element for.
It pairs nicely with his I don't want to get hit playstyle.
Yeah.
It does. Another character who they're the right element.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess.
The uncontroversial
Yeah.
Yanqing.
Yeah.
Except for Wami, but Wami left, so she didn't get to suffer through us all supporting him.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was a thing. He's 8? Is he 8 in like
he's
elf
so-
years?
No, so
Because he's got a lot of skill with the sword.
They
He's
originally added voice lines for him, clarifying that he mentioned he was 8 years old or something. But then they changed them to just say that he's a young kid. So at one point he was like 8 or 9, and then
I
they
thought he was
retconned
like
it to
14 or something.
He's
I would have
he's
said
generally very
teenager.
young. Yeah, young.
So,
But this is
Younger
This
than
is
Arlen
also-
for sure.
this is also anime culture, right?
Yes.
Where 30 years old is practically ready for the nursing home. So you have to take that into account.
Yeah. I think the oldest character in the cast is Herda, which is quite
I keep
telling.
forgetting that. Well, yeah, but she's in a
it's a
puppet
doll
body that she
it's
made.
Not, yeah, it's not
It's-
really her. But
Isn't
But-
that her as like a child or something?
It is. It was her when she's young. I don't know if they specify child, right? But like, truthfully, the most mature looking people in the game are Himiko and Welt, right? Like they are the mommy and daddy,
yeah,
and and
Luocha's kind of up there, but not
and
as
true-
much as Welt. But yeah,
like truthfully, they look like Himiko looks maybe 30, and Welt could maybe be 40 just because
Yeah.
of the gray in his hair.
Welt's like a very fit 40-year-old. Like he takes care of
Natasha
himself.
looks a bit older than Himiko.
But
She has that
I don't
I've
agree,
been doing
but-
this for a long time and I really need a vacation look.
Yeah, okay, so she would look younger, you're saying, if she had the carefree life of a trailblazer like Himiko.
or whatever. Yeah, she just
Also,
Fair.
yeah,
Very fair.
I don't know how old the Astral Express crew is like in lore.
it's mostly Natasha's hair. Don Hung is quite young and nobody knows
Yeah,
how old March is.
Dan is young. March is frozen in ice.
Isn't Don Hung like Space Kiryu? Isn't he 20 or something like that?
He might be. I feel like he recently left, and then I guess we'll find out what his relationship to Blade is.
Where
in
can
theory,
you find
at
that
point
stuff
two.
in the game?
They are, I believe they're all considered to be older teenagers, right? Like that's, which again is silly because I would mark them in their early 20s, but again, you have to do the anime adjustment.
Serval is definitely older, right? Like she's in her like.
Serval
30s,
is like in her 30s, yeah.
She's supposed to be, yeah, because she was Kokolia's friend, not Bronya's friend,
Yeah,
right?
they were in
Bronya's
school together or whatever.
Yeah, Bronya and Zila are supposed to be like 18, and so we don't expect that Kokolia was actually old enough to be Bronya's mother, since she's not her actual mother.
Yeah, no.
But we know probably about 10 years older, so yeah.
Anyways, that was. Now that we're done talking about character ages in anime, we can talk about a fox girl, which is very different.
Yun palette swap.
Yeah, Yukong. What are you guys thinking about Yukong? Again,
So-
now I think you're the expert here.
I put her in the
Sorry.
S tier. Her buffs are massive, but they require high skill. And so I can be convinced to move. I can be convinced to move her down to the A tier, but the buffs are really, really powerful buffs. Sorry, did I say C? I meant A tier. I could be convinced
As
to move
soon
her
as
down
you
to
said
A.
high skill, I was like, oh, okay, C tier it is. I can't.
It's- you really, as I said earlier when we were talking about her, she will give you the amount of effort you're willing to put in, right? So effort will yield results when it comes to you.
I guess let me pose the question this way: you think she's a better buffer than Asta is?
Yes.
Okay, just because you were praising Asta earlier, so I wasn't sure like if
Asta to me for what it's worth, like they're very similar in my mind. They both toe the line between A and S. I think Yukong's buffs are a little better, and only because the way Asta's speed buff works, it's also kind of high skill ceiling, right? It's very time dependent as to how much benefit you'll get out of it. So I could definitely be convinced to move her down to A, honestly, right? Like I think her buffs are good enough to warrant S, but you have to work for them.
yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas Asta, honestly, is like the buffs aren't quite as good, but she's really simple.
Yeah,
And both of them are really good breakers, by the way.
from her burst, right?
Her burst and her basic actually does double break damage.
Oh, okay. Because I
Of a regular
remember
basic.
when we were first discussing her, You guys are saying, oh, her break potential probably isn't great, but I guess
It's so her the typical units we see for a good breaker are 30 on the basic, 60 on the skill, and 90 on the ultimate. Well, she's got the 90 on the ultimate, which is great. She has 60 on the basic because her skill doesn't hit anyone.
right.
And so, you can actually leverage her as like a skill point builder while you're working towards an imaginary break with her, and then swap to buffing your damage while everything is broken.
And broken for so long.
And they're going to stay broken for a long time because you can build her for break effect for that. So it can be a really powerful way to sort of balance out her skill point use across the battle, is have her be a builder while she's breaking, and then have her be a spender while the enemy's broken.
My understanding is that there's a cooldown on that. Is that correct?
There's a cooldown on her.
The toughness damage on her basic.
I'd honestly have to look. I didn't see that, but I'm in the process of building her right now, so I could have missed it.
I don't have her yet, so I could be mistaken. But I think I have heard, again, can't confirm, much like Silverwolf. I think it's only one turn, though.
I'll go have a look while we're talking about it. It is absolutely possible I could have missed it. They're still looking for the best places to look for full character kits that include the traces that modify the abilities, because most of the things I've seen have been a pain. I think this Project Yata is going to be one, which is basically Project Amber, but 4-star.
Yeah, it says it can be triggered again in one turn. It's her talent.
Gotcha.
Oh, but it does deal a lot of extra damage. My goodness. Not quite double her normal basic attack amount.
Yeah.
It was close. That's a lot of damage. Wow.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Yuko?
No, I think it'll become more clear next time we're talking about her, where she ends up. This is where I have her now, but it's still very early days. Unlike Locha,
Well,
she's not so overwhelming that you just go, okay, yeah, it's absurd.
like
right?
most people when they pulled, they were focusing on the Luocha, so she hasn't had the time to cook yet.
Yeah. All right, I gotta ask about two of these that happened while I was away.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How are you trying to justify Serval? You guys, this is what's bugging me. This is what's bugging me. You guys are over here talking up Jing Yuan, ignoring all of his faults, and you put Serval right next to him. Come on.
I didn't ignore it. I mentioned it so many times. I was like, it's backloaded to the Lightning Lord. He can get frozen. It's really annoying.
It was really weird to me seeing them right next to each other and just being like, look, we really sure that she's as good as he is? I don't know if I can agree with that.
That was more that's just where she was in the lineup. I still think that she's like bottom of S tier. She's a bit better than A, but not. She's definitely not as good as like a Yan Qing or Clara or Ting Yun and so forth.
I don't know. I don't see her as better than Himiko. I don't see her as better than Sushang or Danheng or.
I definitely think she's better than Himiko though. Her hit damage might not be as high, but leaning into the whole break playstyle, different story.
Yeah, that's true, and her ability to extend that shock is really good.
Having an ultimate that comes back like every 2 basic attacks on
also
a
pretty
DPS
insane.
character. She generates so much energy. It's really stupid.
She's really good. I guess my issue is I'm mostly looking at her in the company of Qing Shui, Su Shang, and Dan Heng, and I just don't see her. I don't see her as the best of those four. Honestly, I still think Su Shang is the best of those four. I would probably rank them such that I would say Su Shang, and then a toss up between Qing Shui and Serval, and then Dan Heng at the bottom of the list.
We were gonna put Jing Shui in Servog, Asta, and Blazin tier simultaneously because Gamba.
Depending on your luck.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is this, like, I think the whole depending on your luck thing is a little overplayed with her. Like, I've gotten a little bit of experience with her at this point, and she is way better than people have given her.
I had to talk them into that. They wanted to go B tier. I said that I think that conditionally with E6, she is at least an A tier character.
I'll say this about her. At E6, with bad luck, her absolute floor is A tier.
I have her at
with
E6.
With good luck, she's S or SS.
I would agree with that.
That's
yeah.
Like the thing is the absolute worst she can do is really, really strong. So like this is why at E6, like I have E6 Su Shang. I don't have E6 Jing Shui, but I may end up with it because actually no, wait, maybe I do. Because I may go back in the load jump banner. But she, I would say my two biggest regrets right now for characters I should have built sooner than I am now getting around to building them, Serval and Qing Shui. Like, those are my big regrets of not having built them sooner.
You were just hating on Serval this whole time.
I wasn't hating on Serval. I think Serval is super strong. I don't think she's as good as Clara, Jingwan, Yanqing, or Welt. Like, I just think when I look at those damage dealers that we have in S tier, she's not as good as them. She's really good. She's not as good as them.
Fair.
Yeah.
But I think that she is a cut above the other A tier damage dealers, with the possible exceptions of Sushang and Gambo.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
I think those three are the ones that kind of teeter on, like, in between.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that if you look at the damage dealers that we've got in the A tier right now, you've got Sushang, Serval, and Qing Shui, and then you've got Dan Heng, Himiko, Hook, and Sampo. And to me, there's a divide there. There really is a divide. Too.
Yeah, I think I still don't know about Sampo and Hook, but I definitely, there is a divide between, like, Serval and Dan Heng.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
As someone who plays both of them.
I have them both in A only because, again, my philosophy was, can you build a team around this unit and expect to go all the way through MOC? Yes, you can. Okay, good. You're good to go. That was why, by the way, I had Hook in B. I had Sampo in B because I'm not sure that statement applied.
I definitely think Hook is viable. Again, primarily because you'll want to run. There's a lot of floors where you want to run a fire unit. There's a lot of the ice dude who freezes all the time. So you'll want a fire unit there, and Hook is a very good fire damage unit. Now, obviously, you could bring Asta or Fire MC to do your fire breaks instead. But if you want to run a fire damage dealer, I think Hook is a perfectly viable option. Like,
I
don't think
admit
she's bringing you down.
I admit that I am probably underselling Hook.
I will agree, though. I think of the characters we currently have in A tier, the one that stands out as being the most questionable is Sampo.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Because you can't really build anything around him, because you can't really build around dots. And you definitely don't want enemies taking turns. You'd have to build your team super slow for that. Well, I guess you do want them taking turns if you're playing Clara.
Yeah, you put him with Clara, Luocha.
I'll be very honest about Sampo. I don't have nearly enough experience with this kit to really know. But I haven't been impressed with what I've seen.
My stance is that I said that if he were more like Emperor in Defo, where he could trigger his own trap, it would be different.
Which he can do on his E4.
He has 8% of his wind shear damage on his basic at E4.
No, on his skill.
What?
It's when he skills.
Okay, so he has to use a skill point to deal 8% of his trap damage.
Per skill proc. Per skill hit. His skill hits 6 times.
Oh, okay, that's not.
It triggers it for each instance of damage
when the skill hits an enemy. Yeah.
So
that's a little bit different.
48%. Yeah,
that's a little bit different.
If it's hitting one target, right? So
that is a bit different.
But that does require Eidolons on a character that has yet to be featured. So.
Yeah, somehow I have him at E4. He keeps showing up.
I don't have him at all.
Yeah.
He and Arlen are the two that I do not have.
Yeah, he's never been on a banner yet so far.
For real?
Neither of them.
Yeah, I mean he has been in the shop, but he's never been on a banner.
I thought he was in the on one of the limited banners.
Nope.
Fuck knows I got a whole bunch of him.
The only two at this point who have not been on a single limited banner are Arlen and Sampo.
I thought I had E6 Sampo. I'm at E1.
Oh, I guess technically we haven't seen Herta on a limited banner.
Thank you. We don't need that.
They keep giving her to us. Yeah. I have her at E5.
I was gonna say I've got her at like 4 or 5.
I don't want to see Herta ever again.
All right, my last question. March 7th. I had March in the B tier. You guys had March in the A tier.
Yeah, I think B tier is crazy.
Yeah,
I don't understand why. I don't know why
you're
putting her in B.
So for what it's worth, I can be convinced to put her in A, mostly because she's actually a lot closer to solo sustain than it might seem.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that she might be able to solo sustain something.
I think that's part of the problem that I have with her is that I haven't built her that way. Part of what I was thinking about when I put her in B tier was I think that the most overhyped take in the game is pair Clara and March 7th. I don't think they actually work well together. I think it's a good concept that doesn't actually work the way people want it to, because aside from March shielding and taunting on Clara, everything else is largely anti-synergy.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to use her ultimate. You don't want her to break anyone. So they actually don't work well together.
But she does have an amazing partner now with Luocha. Where if
you mean Clara does.
Well, I mean March does too, right? Because again, now I'm kind of leaning back into the accessibility thing, where like you might never get Clara, just like how you might never get Violet. But March,
Well, Lion doesn't have to worry. It's okay.
yes, Lion and
He's-
the
he's
bye
covered.
week part. He's good.
I do have to worry.
Yeah.
I have to worry about getting more.
But if you pull Luocha, you do have a March 7th. And that is another way of getting the off-turn healing. Plus, for whatever reason, Luocha isn't self-sustaining, which because I have Clara, I'm able to sustain with Luocha. If I did not have Clara, I don't think I would have been able to clear floor 10 with just Luocha and no other form of mitigation or off-turn healing. But if I had March in that spot, then it's different.
I would say this: if you didn't have March, if you had put March in the spot, your problem would be you couldn't clear because you would not damage. Like March does.
Yeah, it's a huge damage loss. Yeah,
no damage.
Yeah,
like
so
her counters are very limited as well. Right?
Yeah,
Clara
so I'm not saying that like March 7th is equal to is an equivalent exchange to Clara. I'm just saying like as a substitute within that role, I think she would suffice. Like maybe you wouldn't get 3 stars, but you would survive the fight and be able to finish.
You would be able to clear.
Yeah, you would be able to clear.
Fair.
And I think that's a pretty notable thing, and especially because now they both have cleanse. Right, so like you can super never worry about buffs going on or debuffs going on. Crowd control.
She can heal.
And she does have a little bit of healing if you have her E6. So, yeah, I think March has enough things going for her, even without Luocha, that I think she's fine with A.
I think that's fair. I'll say this: the one thing I'm happy about is that the only character in the game that I would just say is not good is Herta, and you guys have Arlen in B. I still don't agree with that.
I don't think Herta is so bad that she's like 2 tiers away from. Remember, there's a gap between her and everyone else. Like I don't think.
Yeah, I think we could split the A tier. Like we already talked about some potential ways the A tier gets split.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean A tier is definitely.
But the
heavy.
The interesting thing there then is like, okay, well, who do you move down? I mean, you move down. Truthfully, I think you end up moving down Sampo, Dan Hung, and a Hook, and that just doesn't feel right to me either. So it's weird.
Yeah, I mean. We could leave it something like with Arlen, Sampo, Dan, and Hook in
where you're basically saying like there is a gap between the 3, well, Himiko's in there as well, the 4 damage dealers we've got in A and the 4 damage dealers we've got, and I would actually generally agree with that take that like the 4 we have in A are better than the 4 that are in B, but it's a smaller gap
than between A and S.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Pains me to see Dan Hung there.
Yeah.
Blazing Danpo.
Well, I think Harmony's looking good, right?
Part of the thing about Harmony units right now is that we don't have a ton of them. So
we've got more of them than we have healers or tanks. So.
Sure, but that's the
I know it's not saying much.
You can use more of them,
mm-hmm.
right? Like they can be more useful. The interesting thing, and I'd be very curious to see where this goes. Like, where do you go with preservation character design?
Well,
right? Like,
they drip marketed
yeah, but I honestly know nothing of her kit.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that she's a quantum preservation unit. So
quantum preservation unit, and so it's
maybe she'll be quantum Gepard. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, that's just it. Is like,
what you would
okay,
do.
cool. Where do they go?
It would be
they've got a
interesting-
taunt tank. They've got a shielder. They've got a
Like,
single target shielder. Right? Like, where do you go? With
she's
all
a
this?
Forceer, right? So I feel like they would do something about predicting attacks. I don't know.
Maybe she's going to shield the character before they take the attack.
Like
really, really hard to say.
Yeah, I feel like they would do something with the site. Although, again, I don't know how you would implement it. But yeah, it could be like a protect in Pokemon or something where you put it up and it like negates an attack. I'm not sure. It would be tricky.
Yep.
But yeah, so that we do know there's preservation coming. So mono quantum will eventually be a thing.
It will.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be exciting. All right, I feel pretty good about this
Yeah,
list.
I think this is a solid list.
A tier.
I think it's important that we put Kafka in the top of S tier.
These two were just part of this list. They don't belong.
Right, but she needs to be there. She's the best.
She's not a released character. This isn't the list
That's-
that you
that's-
were
that
originally
is not
thinking.
that's not the point I'm making, sir.
I do not understand people's obsession with Kafka.
I don't
really
understand it either.
Says
like-
the man obsessed with Kafka.
Like,
Yes, I don't get it.
for my money, if I'm going with character design and like, you know, who would be my favorite from that perspective, I'm going Serval.
Yeah,
She's cool.
Serval my number 2.
She's really cool.
I really like Luocha's design.
Yeah, well, I'm also really bad. I mean, I was the first one who, the very first time we saw him in the story, I was like, well, I don't know who he is. I don't know when he's going to be playable, but I am absolutely pulling for that character. I didn't know anything about what he was going to do. I didn't know anything about his kit. I was just like, yep, that is a character I will have on my account.
I will say the character that got me to play the game is currently sitting in S tier, being Jingyuan.
The lion.
Yeah.
Literally a lion.
Yeah. He is very pretty.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think, as I said, I think this is the tier list, folks.
All right.
This is the objective community ultimate tier list. There is no other take that can be correct here.
This is not our opinions. This is fact.
Yeah.
We reign supreme. That's really what it
Yes.
comes down to.
Yeah,
If you don't agree with us, then
if
you're wrong.
you're able to read with eyes, you can see by these clearly defined tiers how accurate this tier list is.
We may
Look-
need to change the tier names.
The
though.
amazing solo sustain unit of Silverwolf. Or the Servog tier that does
Doesn't
not have
have
any
Servog.
The Servog tier that doesn't have Serval in it
the,
anymore.
The Adan tier that doesn't have Dan.
The Blazing tier that doesn't have the Trailblazer. Yeah, no, the names are pretty bad at this point.
No, they're a bit
Names are pretty
dated at this
The
point.
very last tier is the worst. You could just leave the D. Just take out the rest.
Oh, don't leave the near the child.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
We
this
went
is
there.
Chaherda Ild.
Yeah.
You could just put Herda and leave it.
Okay.
My goodness. All right, that's going to be the end for me tonight.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you once again now.
Yep, glad I could come back on and finish up with you guys.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Tier lists are fun only if you have people to debate with. I would say that if we do this again in a couple months after a couple more patches, that we put a timer on ourselves.
Yes, please.
Because this is the type of thing where we could talk for 6 hours about this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yes, please.
More Ting Yun Bronya debates.
I had something to do almost over 45 minutes ago.
Well,
Oh my-
yeah,
happened?
we'll
We
wrap
went way
the
over
stream
time.
up anyways. So
Any closing thoughts, Cel?
Himiko's actually triple S. No one's just ready for it yet. We don't have the Sumeru element.
Ooh, I like where your head's at. Yes.
Or Unbreakers.
Oh yeah, yeah. We just need an unbreaker who leaves
We
them
need-
at one break. We need a Sephiroth BT effect.
We need the Dorgan light cone. Treevoid, any closing thoughts?
Let's see. Yeah, I think this tier list is pretty accurate to what my thoughts were. There were like a couple units I shifted around, but otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, my opinion is the correct one. I'm the only one out of everyone here who's fully cleared Memory of Chaos. So everyone else has their opinions, but they can't substantiate it. So just the tree is always right.
Wow.
Lion.
I have so many things I want to say in response to that. None of them nice. As always, y'all, please remember to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Hit the bell. Get your notifications for the next time we do something goofy like this. At some point, someday, we will do the down bad tier list, which is what I thought we were doing today, and I prepared for it
No, it's not
in a very
communicated.
serious manner, considering how I would feel about Locha and Japard, were I dating them and things like that.
What?
So I still don't know where I would put Locha. I feel like he would be maybe in Blazon tier here for that.
That is the worst take. That's the worst Lion take I think.
Okay,
I've ever
here's the
heard.
thing. He's very pretty. He's got money, but he's also very secretive. Who knows what the fuck is in that coffin? Where it came from. Is that even his real name? Is he really a merchant? How did he get on the ship? He's hiding something. How do I know that he's not going to be cheating on me?
Sampo
I'm going to
also
be
hides stuff.
lying awake at night about thinking about that all the time. I couldn't do it.
I don't even know how to react to this type of conversation.
I know. Yeah.
I said I was taking it very seriously.
Very.
Ready.
As for the rest of the week, I think I'm going to be doing some more Final Fantasy 16 tomorrow over on Twitch. At some point, I'll probably start trying to put Twitch links into the YouTube description because I'm a professional. But tomorrow, be sure and join us here on YouTube where we stream a very special game. Special to me, it's not special to Treevoid
No,
because
hell
he's
no,
never
it
played it
isn't.
before. But tomorrow we're going to start streaming Chrono Cross, which is one of my absolute favorite games ever.
Which is the most Lion thing that could be said.
But I really do love that game. It's got a fantastic soundtrack.
Ooh.
It got incredible gameplay. It's
Ooh.
awesome. So if you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, or if you played Chrono Cross or whatever, you know what? You don't even have to have done those things. Just come by and watch it. It'll be great.
I'm a fan of Chrono Trigger, and I'm very worried. So come join us.
There are decision points in the game, and I think that we should do chat polls to decide what we're gonna do, because that would be fun. So come by.
I am actually playing Chrono Trigger right now. So.
Hey, have you played Chrono Cross before?
I have not.
Oh my god, you've got to play it. You will not regret it. I promise.
I have it. I've never gotten around to playing it. It was one of those things where it came out when I was in college.
Ooh.
And I spent a good bit of time with my roommates playing it, and so I just I wasn't always there, so I'd miss things, and so then I kind of just got away from it for a while and never came back to it.
My favorite part of that was you saying that it came out when you were in college.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Damn.
Thank you. I needed that today.
Boomers.
It's been a rough week.
I'm surrounded by boomers.
I'm sure you did.
On that
No,
note,
it means
folks,
it means that it made me feel young.
we're gonna roll out here. Have a good evening, everyone.